We're live. So what I'm going to do, let our Telegram group know right now. Div, you're first. Anupama, Anu, you're second. I'm going to let our Telegram group know what I'm going to do. That's what I'm doing right now. Live on YouTube. There. I just let our Telegram group know. Guys, like the chat as you come in. Yeah, I just let our Telegram group know. What's going on? Raj, what are you up to? Mona, what are you up to? Sebi, what are you doing? What's going on, Anupama? What's going on, Anupama? What are you guys doing? Give the video a like. Ayad. What's going on, Ayad? What are you up to, Ayad? Guys, if you have USMLE questions you can ask. We'll see. I mean, more people will come in. There we go. Guys, give the video a like if you're coming in. Jack up the algorithm here. You just ask USMLE questions if you got them. You got me. I mean, office hours were here, right? So you can ask some questions. I mean, because stuff I talk about during office hours, I'll see I'll see very noob level questions in the Telegram group, and then it's like, come to office hours, I'll address them here. Raj Matthew, taking a break from Pathoma review for step 1, marathon run training later today in New York City. That's cool, dude. I think you mean like taking a break from going through my PDFs or something. Instead, your introductory statement is like taking a break from using some cuck resource that I'm not using your resources. I'm using some cuck resource so that I can go like train later. It's like, all right, Raj. Right? Taking a break from Kaplan 1996 lecture notes to go to the gym later. It's like, okay. It's like, what do you want me to say to that? Rijba Goyle. Hello, sir. How to increase scores in step 2 CK and BMEs? Which ones have you sat, Rishab Goyle? The 2 CK and BME exams, obviously you're going to, so what's going to happen is when you finish UWorld or AMBOSS for CK, you're going to go on to do your first pass of all the CMS forms, right? That's what you're going to do. And you're going to go through all 45 to 50 forms, 2 per day. And then that's going to give you, so UWorld or AMBOSS is going to give you a foundation for going through all of the CMS forms. And then you've got the CMS forms, which are going to give you the foundation to tackle NBMEs 6 through 8 offline. So you're going to do 6 through 8 offline. And those should be the initial ones you're touching, right? So let's say you do NBME 6, 7, or 8, and you don't like your scores, right? Because Rishab Goyle, you're asking about how to increase scores in 2CK NBME. So this is perfect because you finish the CMS form first pass, you do 6, 7, 8 offline, and regardless of whether your scores are really shitty, and you're like, OMG, how do I get my scores up? I'm stressed. Or whether your scores are high already, you're getting like, 265 equivalent, regardless. The next best step is going through all the CMS forms a second time, as I've harped on. I've inculcated this point. So you're going to do all the CMS forms a second time. That's how you're going to get your scores up, right? So that makes sense. So that's your next best step in management. And then you're going to go on to free 120 after you finish the second pass the CMS forms. Then you're going to do NBMEs 9 through 14. And by that point, you should be seeing some pretty high scores. And if you're not, let's say you do NBMEs 9 and 10, and you're not seeing high scores, and you've already done 2 genuine passes of all the CMS forms, right? You did NBMEs 6, 7, 8, as I had talked about earlier. And you say, well, I got like a 236 and a 231, a 9 and 10. And I don't want that because I want radiology. I want to get a 255 plus or whatever. And you're not happy. Okay, well, you've done 9 and 10. Now I'm going to say you're going to take an entire month plus to do like AMBOSS or something. Students like, well, I don't like the idea of that. I'm like, you're not going to fucking magically get like a 255. There's no entitlement. So you're going to go back to like AMBOSS for an entire month. You're going to come back and you're going to redo 6, 7, 8, and 9 and 10 and free 120 as though you've never done them. And we're not going to care about your scores because you've clearly done them, but there'll be review. And then you'll do Form 11. and we'll see how you go on 11. Maybe you'll be like, maybe you will be at like a 250 by then. So the only time I prescribe extra Q-bank in the setting in for step 2 in the setting of someone, to get their scores up on the NBMEs, it'll come late in that case. You have to finish 2 passes of the CMS forms and NBME 6, 7, 8 before you tackle the online NBMEs. Let's see. Ayad Ali, like. Yeah, I appreciate it. So there's 40 of you here right now, and only 14 liked it. So, por favor, give the live stream a like, and that'll jack up the algorithm, and it will help bring people here, right? Nakia Brooks, hey you, what's up, Dr. M? 4 exclamation marks. What's going on, Nakia? What are you up to? How's NOLA? How's New Orleans? Have you had any seafood recently? Any Cajun recently? I wouldn't be ripped if I were living in the United States because I would just be eating a shitload of fucking food. That's what it would be. I'd just be eating like a lot of like here in Japan, I have like healthy food, If I were living in the United States, it'd be fucking yummy. Be a lot of good food, but I'd have to be like running all the fucking time. Joy Rahab Kalo, greetings, doc. Just saw your notification while trying to remember the hell grunting and retractions used to mean. To remember what the hell grunting and retractions used to mean. In pediatrics, grunting and retractions mean respiratory distress, right? Whether it's NRDS or whether it's transient tachypnea of the newborn or whether it's bronchiolitis, like for RSV under the age of 18 months. You need to know the most common in pulmonary infection in kids under 18 months is RSV bronchiolitis. You get a 10-month-old with bilateral wheezes and a low-grade fever. That's just RSV bronchiolitis. Abdul Rahman Taha. Hey, Mike, loved your most recent video. What do you think is better, hands-on elective at a community hospital or observership at an esteemed institution? I don't think it fucking matters. I think it just matters what your letter is. I think, people aren't going to be impressed at you merely doing some ostensible observership at a quote unquote esteemed institution because these things are a money grab nowadays. You can take any fucking person, have them pay like the stipend or whatever it is to do like, their observership at Harvard. Oh my God. Nothing to fucking do with your intelligence. It's just pay fucking $6,000 or whatever and do your fucking, 4 weeks at some observership. I mean, no one cares. What matters is your 2CK score when you apply, your class rank, and you got to get letters. I literally just put out a fucking YouTube clip on letters, right? I mean, that was part of the live chat yesterday, right? So I don't think people care about where per se. You should try to get into an institution where like you want to think about where you practically might go. It's not going to be fucking Yale, okay? If it is, congratulations. But I mean, you have to practically say, what am I capable of in terms of a score? Where do I think I'm going to score? And if you think you're going to score like 220s to 240s, you can't be delusional, okay? So you say, look, I might do like obs-gyn and I might do a rotation at like X hospital in like, Tennessee or something. Nothing wrong with that. That sounds, Tennessee, good music, right? Sure, they have good, blues, right? Jazz, barbecue. I'm sure Tennessee's fun. So you pick an institution there and you're like, maybe I'll go to Tennessee. And then, you do your observership there and you get a letter from a team there. And that's how you get in. Can't have delusion. It's not about this, just being at an esteemed institution. But if you can pull a big score, if you're capable of generating like a 265, 260, 265 plus, and you want to go for it, like, try to get in pay the stipend to go to like, New Haven or whatever, and then try to meet people there. Sagar Patel. I just skipped over Div. Sorry, Div. I just completely skipped over your question. I just skipped over, I skipped over Ahmed's question as well. Ahmed Elliman. Good to see Ahmed. Hey, like getting 70% in 3 consecutive NBMEs, need to be getting 75 to be safe. What do you recommend? That's fine. 70% is good. I've said 70% NBMEs is really good, right? Many of you watching this, wouldn't you want like 70% in your NBMEs? That's really good, right? People watching this right now are probably, some people are getting like 50s, 40s, right? So 70% is really solid. At least 2/3 for safety, but 70 is great. And I've told you that you're going to convert those to 3-digit scores regardless. It's a Celsius Fahrenheit conversion. I'm pedantic about this. I've articulated this point repeatedly that you're going to go to Google Images, not Google Images. You're going to type in NVMe 23 score conversion Reddit, NVMe 28 score conversion Reddit. And you're going to get a graph. You're going to type in your number, the best fit line. You're going to type in your number of wrongs as the X. You're going to get a Y, 3-digit score. 197 internal pass mark for step 1. I want to see 205, 210 plus. You say on at least 3 exams for you to be safe. I want that buffer. Student says, why do I have to cumbersomely convert a 2-digit percentage into 3-digit score? It's because 2-digit percentages differ in terms of their meaning based on the scales for each individual form. So 64% on like one form is not going to be the same as 64% on another form. So I just, I'm a bit OCD in terms of like being able to, very precisely understand the meaning of someone's score and how that relates to how much time they need and how I manage their plan. And so I want the 3-digit score conversions. So Ahmed, what you're going to do is you're going to take your 70% on the 3 consecutive NBMEs, which is very good, as I said, and you're just going to get your 3-digit score. Maybe it'll come out to like 212, 214, 210, whatever it is. And then we at least have those scores and we say, well, we wanted 205, 210 plus. That's very strong. And just keep doing what you're doing, right? Div, will we be able to prepare for step 2 using UWorld, etc., even before starting rotations? Answer is yes. Like during LOA, during leave of absence taken for step 1, you can. I mean, there's no problem with that. Like you'll be ahead of things. That's fine. That's absolutely, you can do that. I took my step 2 before I did my peds and obs gyne rotations. That's a long story. I'm not going to make this about me right now, but the point is, you can do QBank and prepare for step 2, and even fucking sit step 2, not having done certain rotations. My school in Australia was really fucking stupid, and they put peds and obs gyne at the end of 4th year. Makes no fucking sense. But they don't play. The plan wasn't USMLE. I wasn't. I was in Australia. But I wasn't going to wait until the end of med school to sit step 2. So I decided I was going to sit at the end of 3rd year, not having done a peds and obs gyne rotation, right? So I studied peds and obs gyne from QBank on my own, and I got a shitty 260 on step 2, which back then was the equivalent of a 270 is today, probably. I've talked about like score inflation. Not that it matters, right? But I mean, scores have inflated over time. But 260 now is like a mediocre score, right? 270, it would be like a 270 back then, though, when I sat. Cigar Patel, hey Mike. Raj Matthew, haha, I'm using your resources to Nakia Brooks, done seeing patients about to do UWorld. Troll Malou, how are you? How old are you? I'm 36. I turned 36 in January. I've said that a lot, but I'm 36. I mean, I don't expect that you've been in like all my live streams, right? Guys, give the video a like if you're coming in. Jack up the algorithm. Geotier Maya Jane, would you recommend reading step 2 CK books or just learning from UWorld questions? I recommend doing just UWorld/Amboss, and you're going to do my PDFs while you're going through UWorld/Amboss, right? That's what you're going to do. Go through my YouTube MCQs as well. My PDFs are your books, quote unquote, right? Those are your books. I choose not to be pompous about things and assemble all my PDFs into some massive tome / compendium, and say, this is my, 1,600 page book. I'm amazing. I don't think that's best for you guys to digest. Isn't it easier if you just have more of a manageable, here's your like 30 pages or 50, 60 pages on a topic that you can just read through, right? So that's why I keep things as PDFs. But people ask me frequently about like, assembling things as a book or books, and I don't see the reason for that. I think that's just a hubristic move. I don't see that as ideal. But the point is, go through my PDFs. You don't need there's books out there like, Master the Boards 2 and 3. I did those for when I was studying for step 2. Not the best use of my time. I regret that. I should have done more questions when I was prepping for step 2, but I memorized those books. The reason I was I didn't have guidance, but the reason uh, my own intuition about what to do to prep for step 2 a decade ago was wrong by focusing too much on some books like Step Up to Medicine or Master the Boards 2 and 3. The reason that intuition was wrong was because it was obviously imbued into us for step 1 at the time that FA was the Bible, Torah, Quran, right? So everyone, when I sat 11 years ago, it was FA that everyone memorized. And so necessarily when you go on to step 2, you think, well, there's got to be a book. So everyone buys FA 2CK and it's a shitty book. And then you're saying, well, what book do I need though? What's the book? What's the compendium resource that's going to get me my score? And you start reading MTB 2 and 3 and Step Up to Medicine, but it was largely potential energy, not kinetic energy in terms of score augmentation. And I didn't get through enough questions. So I would focus on my PDFs, which are based on the NBME exams, and not get bogged down in like the notion of needing to read a book for 2CK. Just my PDFs and the questions. And get through my playlist on YouTube, like the IM playlist, fucking huge playlist. Like Path is the biggest playlist for step 1, and then IM is the biggest playlist for 2CK for sure. So do those playlists. Surgery playlist, teach you all the hepatobiliary stuff. Ayad Ali, just finished all your videos. Do you think it's a good idea to repeat them or focus more on PDFs? I mean, that's up to you, actually. I would do both. Make sure you get through both. Some people have different learning styles, right? There's some of you who like don't learn well from videos. And there's those of you who try to read my PDFs and you like can't make inroads. You don't like reading things. Or someone made a comment in the Telegram group earlier today about like, how the bullet point style, the Q&A style, some of my PDFs like are confusing for that. That can be a sentiment some students have, but recognize that there are other students who like that bullet point format. So it's hard to appease everybody, right? Some people like the, bullet point, cut to the chase, no fluff. Some people need their like charts, and that's why I have charts in some of the updated PDFs like cardiopulmonary gastro. Some people find that easier to digest. Anupama Anu, Mike, do you recommend highlighting URL explanations while reviewing? I do not. I've said you don't need to annotate, you don't need to make Anki, anything like that. Guys, if you're coming live stream, please give the video a like. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed to my channel, you're a fucking asshole. Z, hi, you have advised to take NVME's 25 to 31 off online, not offline. Why? I don't care how you do the PDFs. If you want to do them, through our Telegram group or whatever, that's fine, do them. But in some instances, if you do them online, that can contribute to greater equanimity on your end, in the sense that you generate greater formality while you're sitting the actual forms. So that can factor into you feeling more like an extra layer of validity that can confer maybe by 5 to 10%. It doesn't fucking matter, okay? Just do the forms. If you're going to do the online forms offline, similar to how you're going to do 20 through 24, then you should have a Google timer, okay? I don't know, look up on Google how much time you need, whether it's 72 seconds per question or whatever it is, but figure out how much time you're going to need. Use a Google timer for each block when you're doing 25 to 31. When you're doing 20 through 24 offline and free 120, I don't give a fuck about your time, okay? Don't take all day, but you can just do them somewhat more casually. The offline ones, 20 through 24, free 120. KK, hello. I dated a chick named KK here in Japan, actually. Then she moved to Malaysia. That was like 2 years ago. Hello, I'm doing UWorld and I am going to start doing your PDFs. Okay. Is there a question with that? There was no question. Mona Adam was revising and made me 25 and got 210. Exam in a month. What's your recommendation? That's good. So your exam's in a month. I don't know why you chose 25 to do now, Mona Adam, but you should I don't want you to touch 26 right now. I want you to do 20 through 24 and free 120 first. And you're going to make Anki of all your incorrects. And um, you're going to assiduously ingrain those forms first. And then you can go back to 26 through 31. And you can also drill my PDFs, no high yield arrows, of course, cardiopulmonary gastro, right? Hematology. Stephen Scheid. Stephen Sheed. Hey, Mike, I just found out I passed up one. I wanted to show my appreciation. Your YouTube videos and PDFs got me so many questions right. Thanks so much. That's good news, Stephen Sheed. Right? I'm happy to hear that. KK. Okay, you asked your question. Do I need to do FA if I do your PDFs? The answer is no. Ask that same fucking question on Reddit. You'll get like 8 people responding, being like, "Don't do Mehlman's PDFs. They didn't help me at all." You'll get some like you just get a whole onslaught of negativity, right? You know, don't take my advice. You know, you need social proof first, right? You need social proof, right? So, wait, do you need to do FA first? I mean, I've said that my stomach is rumbling, by the way. I'm hungry. So if you just hear like random borborygmi, that's just like I should have had like protein before I did this live stream here. I've said the FA era is over, and it's nothing against FA. It's nothing. It's nothing negative. It's just you know they have 2+ decades of a text that encompasses all the small details for the numerical step one that is no longer. Abdul Rahman Taha, hey daddy, how can we differentiate CML versus AML? Very fucking easy. That's like hyper basic. I mean, CML, you're going to get, first of all, if they show you an image, that's going to be a motley mix, a soup, a medley, all different types of cells. If they don't show you the image, if they just give you the bloods, they'll give you all different types of myelo sounding cells, promyelocytes, metamyelocytes, myelocytes. Okay, so you're gonna have a leukocyte count. Obviously, 4 to 11 is normal. You're gonna have leukocyte count. I've seen as low as 14,500 for CML. I've seen like 150,000 in USMLE question for CML. You're gonna have a very fucking elevated leukocyte count. It's gonna be promyelocytes, myelocytes, metamyelocytes, different myelo sounding cells. So it can be the image and or just the bloods, and that's what you're gonna see. That's pretty much all CML questions. You can get a low leukocyte ALP. That's an overrated detail. USMLE doesn't really give a fuck about that. High leukocyte ALP, of course, leukocyte reaction, polycythemia vera. Leukocyte reaction will also give you a reactive granulocytosis is the answer on USMLE, or it can be increased leukocyte release from the bone marrow post-mitotic reserve pool. Can be a leukocyte reaction. Oid means looks like but ain't. So your leukocyte count super fucking elevated, 30,000 or greater, and it's going to look like leukemia henceforth, but it's not leukemia. So but you're going to see the reactive granulocytosis, not the motley mix that you get with CML. Treat CML with imatinib, which can cause fluid retention, just targets the BCR-ABL tyrosine kinase, obviously Philadelphia chromosome 922 translocation. It's a fusion protein oncogenic tyrosine kinase. AML, that's going to be you can get R-RODS. That's very buzzy, right? Composed of myeloperoxidase. You get cell lysis, cause DIC, schistocytes. But AML, you're going to get 30 to 50% blasts, they'll tell you. So if they don't show you the R-RODS, they'll just say 30% blasts, 50% blasts. That's all they'll say for AML. That's literally it. APL, AMLM3, 1517 translocation, it's lower yield. Right? It's very easy to differentiate those. And then ALL and CLL are both going to be super fucking elevated leukocyte counts where they're all lymphocytes. So it'll be like, 70-year-old dude with a leukocyte count of 50,000 and it's 90% lymphocytes, just CLL. They don't have to give you smudge cells. They don't have to give you, small lymphocytic lymphoma. They don't have to give you warm autoimmune hemolytic anemia with low hemoglobin. They'll just give you an adult who's got a high leukocyte count where it's all lymphocytes. If it's a kid with high leukocytes and it's all lymphocytes, that's going to be ALL, right? CD10 positive, TDT positive. Can be a tall T cell ALL if it involves the thymus with a positive Pemberton sign, right? Congested neck veins, facial flushing. But don't confuse ALL with pertussis, right? Pertussis can present like ALL. So you'll get a kid who's got leukocyte count of like 50,000. It's all lymphocytes. You're like, holy shit, that's ALL. But then they've got a cough with post-tussive emesis, which means vomiting after cough, and hypoglycemia. That would be pertussis. But it can present very similarly to ALL for that reason. Where was I? I don't even know, let's see. Where was I? Okay. SK, which NBME should I absolutely do online for step 1? I said you're going to do 25 through 31, but I want you to do 20 through 31, including free 120. Mohammed Abadi, hey Mike, is ophthalmology and ENT high yield for step 1? Not super high yield. I just put out an opt-out clip today. You need to know some basics. If so, from where do I study them? Do you have PDFs for them? Laughable. No, I don't. I'm saying laughable because I was thinking of creating like an ophthalmology playlist. Like I've made lots of ophthalmology clips for YouTube. It's just I hadn't organized them in an ophthalmology playlist, which was a miss on my end. So I'm gonna have to search and try to find all my ophthalmology clips, type in Google, ophthalmology, Mehlmanmedical, and try to find all my old clips that were opthal and then cumbersomely label them as opthal to try to make a playlist on YouTube with them. It's just, I don't really want to spend the time doing that, but I could. But then in terms of a PDF, I will do an opthal PDF at some point. It's not priority. I think about priorities, you know what I'm saying? It's not priority, but I could do it. I could. KK, I'm not good at memorizing. How do I improve? I've said that. You just have to understand that you're going to remember, forget. That's normal. You don't have to make Anki from QBank. You don't have to annotate from QBank. You're just going to forget things. That's totally normal. You got to just own it. That's fine. Yeah, just accept that you're going to forget things. Okay, you don't have to make Anki, as I said. You don't have to annotate. Amir Chehimi. Hey, Mike, in your MSK Farm part PDF, you wrote twice that, here we go. You wrote twice that succinylcholine is a nicotinic receptor antagonist. Is that a mistake? Every other literature says agonist. Don't know what to fucking tell you, okay? I mean, what do you want me to say? Why don't you use Google? Why don't you use ChatGPT? What do you want me to say? Amir, right? Mike, you're wrong. You said antagonist, but everything I search online says agonist. Were you wrong, Michael? Yes, I was fucking wrong. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? Look it up and okay. I mean, it's a depolarizing nicotinic receptor agonist that induces desensitization and hence acts as an antagonist. I may or may not have seen it actually on an NBME question somewhere where it was antagonist. That might be why. But but technically, in terms of its binding, it's like leuprolide, right? Leuprolide, gosaralin, right? They're drugs that are GnRH receptor agonists. They're agonists, right? But they act as antagonists when they're given continuously. Something of that nature. KK, how many questions should I do every day? 40 to 80. How much time should I take to review each block? I would say 1 hour per 10 questions. So you do 40 questions in the morning. It's going to take you 4 hours. When you go into the you have your lunch, then you go into the afternoon where you do my PDFs or YouTube MCQs. But if you titrate up to 80 questions, I've said never more than 80 questions per day. If you titrate up to 80 questions, then that'll be 8 hours of questions, right? Muhammad Abadi, if I answer a question correctly while using your audio Q bank, do I have to listen why every answer is wrong? Well, if you want to fuck up my YouTube algorithm, right, then you don't have to listen, right? Essentially, if you're going to be a fucking asshole and leave my YouTube clip after 2 seconds, at least like give it a like, you know what I'm saying? Give it a like, give it a comment. That can be your thing. Like you say, I'm going to listen. And by the way, that's also precisely why, because some of you get like ticked off about this. It's for that exact fucking reason why I have a propensity to put the correct answer as like the second to last one or the last one. Some people repine and they're like, Mike, it's always like the second to last one. Well, you know why? Because you get people like, in this case, who, if I put it as the first answer, what are they going to do? They're going to leave the fucking clip. It kills the algorithm. And then I look at the analytics for the clip. I'm like, exactly. So people have a big mouth in that, like, they want in and out, but it's like, okay, you kill my fucking algorithm. Like, what am I supposed to do? So, I mean, like, Nakia Brooks, hot, but all is good. But it's all good. Had a bowl of seafood gumbo. I got you if you come over. That sounds fucking good. I could go for that right now. Like, I need that. I need like a very high calorie meal right now. Spicy. That'd be good. I don't like have food in my place right now. I have like no food. I have like protein. I have literally protein powder, protein bars, protein chips, matcha, ketchup, barbecue sauce, hot sauce. I have hojicha. I mentioned the matcha. 2 bottles of tequila in the freezer, 2 limes in the freezer, 2 shot glasses in the freezer, 2 bottles of Nihonshu, which is Japanese rice wine. I've got that in the fridge. I've got wasabi. I've got soy sauce. I've got karashi, which is spicy mustard. I've got a little bit of tea left, like kocha, which is like tea bags, black tea. That's like all I have. Vitamins. That's like it. Like, I don't have food. I need food. Seafood gumbo, like a spicy seafood gumbo, be fucking great. Right? That'd be fucking awesome. I'd eat a lot of fucking like seafood gumbo right now. That'd be really, really good. You give me like a big bowl of that, I eat it, and then it's like, I want more. That's what would happen. That's what I was saying at the start of this live stream. Like, if I lived in the United States, like, I would not be ripped because like I'd be eating like shit like that all the time, which is great. It's healthy, but like I'd have to like, I Chirok Amor Zakova. Hello, doctor. Is it possible to improve scores from low score to pass score, and how? Thank you, Mr. Mehlman. In 2 months. Yeah, I mean, if you have 2 months out for your step 1, you're going to be doing QBank for another month. And then about a month out is when you transition into the NBME exams, right? So we want to see how your NBMEs are at that point in time. And if they're really, really shitty, you're going to go back to QBank. If they're decent, you can move forward. And in the meantime, while you're going through QBank, you're going to do my PDFs and my YouTube MCQs. That's what you're going to do. Guys, give the video a like. Really appreciate it. And if you are not subbed to my channel, why don't you hit the subscribe button, right? That'd be a good idea. Vicky Daniel, hi, Dr. Mike. I'm struggling to pull 40 questions a day. I feel like there's a lot of info to absorb from explanations for step 1 UWorld. That's fine. You're just going to read and you're going to move forward, and you're not going to obsess over, arbitrary non-retention. Just read as much as you can and try the best you can. Mohith, hey, what's going on, Mohith? Reem, I'll know. I still don't get the whole application process and the pathways for the certificate. Can you elaborate the process more? Because lots of people don't get any interviews and their scores on 2CK are good. Well, you have to come off not entitled in your personal statement. Okay, you gotta not talk about you. I talked about this as well, right? Your personal statement. You're gonna discuss adversity. You're gonna discuss, you know, how you like working on a team, how you can contribute to a team. You got to come off humble in your personal statement. But apart from that, it's got to be you apply to preliminary and transitional years. You got to apply to 1 year programs, not just 4 year, 5, 6 year categoricals, right? You got to apply to 1 year programs. That's just what the process entails at this point, right? That's what you got to do. Ream. KK, I just found you. Recommended by a friend, and you are pretty cool. You state facts so well. That's cool, KK. I mean, I don't know if you're a guy or a chick. Your thumbnail is just literally a purple with a purple background with a K. But as I said, I dated a chick named KK like a couple of years ago before she moved to Malaysia. Reem Alno, how can I make my CV solid? I don't want to have to apply twice. I've said apply to transitional years and preliminary years, right? That's going to increase the probability that you'll match. Carson, hello. What's going on, Carson? Ayad Ali, which step one NBMEs do you think are the hardest? They're all the same. Yes, they're all the same. Mohammed Kadrawi, hello boss. What's going on, Mohammed? Nav M, step one CBSE comp in 40 days. Besides highlight arrows, what should I focus on? Well, in 40 days, the final month should all be NBME exams. So you got to know 20 through 24 for you, 120, then 25 through 31. I want you to do those. But you got to, apart from highlight arrows, yes, you should know cardiopulmonary, renal, gastro, hematology. Okay, know those PDFs really well. PDFs like biochemistry, immunology, neuroanatomy, they're all excellent PDFs, because I happen to nail those subjects really well. But I don't give a fuck if you know some obscure stroke condition, but you don't like Weber syndrome, which does show up on the NBME. Okay. I don't give a fuck if you know Weber syndrome or not, midbrain stroke where you get contralateral spastic paresis and you get ipsilateral cranial nerve 3 palsy with down and out. I don't give a fuck if you know that. If you don't know, Addison versus Kahn syndrome, or VSD versus ASD, or shunt versus dead space, or duodenal atresia versus pyloric stenosis, or acute tubular necrosis versus tubular interstitial nephritis. It's you have to have your basics down. Nice guy Eddie. Hi, Dr. Mike. Where did you get your necklace chain from? My gold necklace chain. My grandmother, actually, when I was 13. So I've had this necklace for, you do the math, right? 36 now. So, right. I've had this a long fucking time. 23 plus 23 years, probably in that ballpark. It's for my bar mitzvah, actually. It's like a gift for my bar mitzvah. It's only come off I never take it off. Let's see, where was I in the chat? Sometimes you guys post and then it moves down on me. I'm just scrolling back up right now. There we go. Oh, Joy, Rahab, Kalo. What is Palavizumab? Oh, that's the one. That's the it targets F protein for syncytia formation and RSV bronchiolitis. It's nonsense. It's wrong answer. I mean, ribavirin and it's not Pavlizumab. I think it's Palavizumab. But regardless, that's a wrong answer for USMLE. I've never fucking seen assessed garbage nonsense. Just supportive care for RSV bronchiolitis. I think there's instances if it's an HIV positive kid, or there's congenital heart lung disease like cystic fibrosis or heart lung fistula, or the kids in ICU premi. There's indications for things like that, but on USMLE they're wrong fucking answers. Dan Blahman. Why do you recommend 2 passes of CMS? Because it's going to increase your score, Dan Blahman. That's why. What if all you want for residency is IM, FMP, psych, and you don't care about academic prestige? Is 2 passes really worth the time? Is 3 to 3.5 extra weeks not worth your fucking time to get a solid score so that you can increase the chance of getting in wherever you want? In terms of like, if you don't give a fuck and you are okay doing like family medicine and like, you know, Kentucky, there's nothing like, fine, don't do another pass CMS. But if you have the audacity to want to choose your location, you say, I want to be in like Oregon, no questions asked. Or I want to be like, you know, near Boston or something. Like if you have the audacity to like desire a location, you need to have good scores. And you're not going to be upset, let's just say that, to be sitting on a higher USMLE score when you get to the point of your application. You'll be pretty happy about that. Hi, mate. I'm Nate says, hi, Mike. What's up? What's going on, Nate? Mohammed Kadrari. Do you think I can go up 10 to 15 points exam in 1 month? Yeah. Akar Kangsha Singh. Hi, Melman. My exam is on the 18th of August, step 2. Only done with 60% UWorld and doing your notes simultaneously. Can you advise a good strategy? August 2nd. For step 2. You should be, you're only 60% done with UWorld. Bro, you need to postpone. You need to finish all of UWorld. You need to get through NBME 6 through, or finish UWorld, do pass of all CMS forms, 3.5 weeks. NBME 6 through 8, double pass of all the CMS forms. 3/120, NBME's 9 through 14. Otherwise, you're cutting yourself short. If you can't move your exam, so I would say you 6% done with UWorld. You need another month on UWorld. So you need till the end of July for UWorld, and then I would say you need another 2 months. So end of August, end of September. I would say you need to sit end of September for step 2. And if you say no, fuck you, I don't want to sit end of September. Okay, don't take my advice. Don't take my advice. But I'm saying you should sit step 2 end of September. Get through all the content I just said. That's what you should do. Moha, Japan. Hi, Mike. We met once at Osaka Station. Did we? Trying to think. I get approached sometimes, like it's happened sometimes. Like I get approached maybe like once every like 3 to 4 months, and someone's like, I know you from the internet. But I'm not like friendly. Like when I'm in the station, like I'm not friendly really. I tend to like I'll have short chat for Moha. I'm guessing I had I'm gonna guess right now because I don't remember, right? I'm guessing we had like very short chat then in Osaka Station, very, very short chat, maybe on the magnitude of like 30 seconds tops. And then I probably darted off and approached some chick. That's probably what happened. That's probably what happened. I don't need to be approached by dudes. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing wrong with like having friendly chat with people in real life, but it's like, I'd rather have a chick open me, have a chick say hi to me, be like, hey, I thought you were attractive. You're a random white dude and I thought you were attractive. I'd rather have that than some dude say hi to me, right? There's nothing wrong with like having conversation, like, with just people in everyday life, but I'd prefer like a chick opens me, then I'd probably talk to her for more than 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Right? That's how it works. Osware Ali. Hi, Mike. Love your work. Could you explain how the step 1 scoring works? Example, some sources say you need to score 65% in 200 questions. 80 are experimental. They don't count toward. I mean, it's speculated that 80 are experimental out of 280. Okay. Look, and I've read that somewhere. Someone had like posted some link like where it said that on some USMLE page. The reason I'm not firmer on that fact, if it's the case, is because I don't really give a fuck, and it doesn't change our management in terms of study. So whether it's true that yes, 80 questions out of 280 are experimental, or no, it's not true that it's only 40, or sometimes it's 80, sometimes it's 0. Like it doesn't change anything because you're not going to know which ones are experimental anyway. So you still have to study everything. Mohit B says smash the like button. Yeah, guys, smash the like button. Really appreciate it. Give the video a like. Sub to the channel if you haven't already. Faz, hi Dr. Mike. Almost 800 videos on your audio Q bank. Have you theoretically covered all the high yield topics, or is there still more to cover? I mean, I'll continue to cover high yield topics. I haven't analyzed a theoretical percentage of what I've covered, in terms of all the stuff for USMLE, but let's just say I've covered like probably the highest yield stuff already. Yes. Okay. It makes sense, but I'll continue. Like I've, if you've gone through literally all my fucking YouTube questions, which the vast majority of you haven't / won't, of course I repeat certain topics. Like, of course I'll do more than one question ITP. I'll probably have 10 questions on ITP, literally. Von Willebrand disease, hemophilia. Like there's questions, it's understand that your score in the USMLE is not knowing about weird shit like pseudo gray platelet syndrome or Bernard Solier or Glanzmann thrombocythemia. USMLE doesn't give a fuck. You got to know fucking ITP. You got to know DIC. You got to know von Willebrand disease versus hemophilia, right? Vitamin K deficiency. Like you got to know those basics. So like I repeat high yield concepts and I ask them different ways. Whether it's like, here's an ITP question where the answer is steroids, followed by IVIG, followed by splenectomy. Or here's an ITP question where it's accessory spleen, because that's asked in the new NBME questions. Or here's an ITP question where the answer is antibodies against glycoproteins 2B, 3A on platelets, which is platelet aggregation, right? So, I mean, it's like you got to know those high-yield concepts really fucking well. So there will be repeat concepts. I articulate this because some people are like, almost indignant at the notion that like there'd be some repeat concepts. It's like, no fucking shit, there's repeat concepts. I mean, isn't that the same thing for like UWorld as well, AMBOSS? Like they're going to repeat high yield concepts. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. The redundancy. It's wobble, right? Mimi NKA. Hey, Mike, how are you? What's up, Mimi? Good to see you again in the chat. Moha Japan. Mike, I scored 236 back in 2014. Now I'm done with all my steps. Any advice about the match? It's a very generic question, Moha Japan. Still trying to think about where. I mean, as I said, I wouldn't know. I don't know when we met but I mean, you're asking a very generic question. You're done with all your steps. I mean, can you ask me more specific than that? Like, what do you want? What do you want to know? How about we start there? Literally, what do you want to know? Mimi NKA, hi Mike, is being 5 years post med school going to impact chance of matching? Yes, it will. But you can have a step 3 score within a year of applying, and that will help you. Absolutely. Because that'll demonstrate recent competency. So just take step 3 before you apply. Kanye. Hey Mike, when you open a chick at the, let me see. I gotta when it's a non-med question, I gotta read it to make sure it's not like rated X, Hey Mike, when you open a chick at the gym and she rejects, how do you interact with them if you see them again at the gym in the future? Just ignore a bunch of betas saying opening at the gym is bad? It depends, right? If I open a chick at the gym, yeah, I mean, it depends, dude. I mean, like, I'm not an amateur at that stuff. Like, I'm non-reactive to that. Like, you put up a shield and you don't, sometimes, you'll just ignore indefinitely. The girl seems maybe closed off, right? You just ignore indefinitely. It is what it is. Maybe sometimes you're like, well, I opened that chick, she fucking rejected like a month ago, and it is what it is. But maybe there's another time she's like working out near you, or you see her go to the locker or something. You can try again, right? And you can get rejected again, or maybe she'll exchange this time. So you can try more than once, right? You can do that. Nothing wrong with that. It's a female state thing. So sometimes women are closed off. You catch them when they're like commuting home or something, they're closed off. And then you catch her like the same girl, the grocery store, 5 hours later, and she's 5 hours earlier, she's open. She's open to a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So A bunch of betas saying opening at the gym is bad. Well, no fucking shit. That's why they're betas in the first place. I mean, that sort of makes sense, doesn't it? Right? Doesn't that make sense? Saying hi to a girl is bad. Don't do that. That's bad. Don't say hi. Use your app. Sit at home. Don't say hi to people in real life. Use your app. That's good. Saying hi to people in real life, that's bad. I mean, no shit, that's beta. Right? It's like, what do you want me to say to that? Goku, hello. So I checked Comlex scores yesterday. I was 2 points from passing. Okay, so you got a 458. Would 3 months be enough for QBank in the morning, 40 to 50, then your high LPS? Yeah, that's enough, at least a month of QBank. I'd say you could possibly sit in 2 months because you're going to do a month of QBank at least. And then you could sit on Vietnamese 2021 offline, or you could attempt a ComSay, another ComSay. And if your scores are good, you can progress to the NBMEs and ultimately sit. If your scores are poor, then we can continue QBank for possibly another month. But I think maybe in 2 months you could be ready to sit Goku Ha. Shubham Tiwari. Any tips for increasing concentration for studying for a long time, like 2 to 3 hour sessions? Is that long? That's short. 2 to 3 hours? How is that long? That's like, are you joking right now? 2 to 3 hours? That's a short session. Do you mean like 8 hours? Regardless, you can caffeinate if you want. Some people need their fucking pills. They're on like reuptake inhibitors or, Ritalin or something. I mean, some people are on stuff like that, but like caffeine. I got through my USMLEs without caffeine. Isn't that crazy? I never started drinking caffeine until I was 27. I never had like any caffeine until I was 27. It was ruined because there were 3 Italians who were working in my PhD lab at the time. I talked about in the prior live stream. I walked to the master's because I abhorred. I hated the PhD. The point is, there were like 3 Italians in my lab, and they made me a coffee. Like I didn't want that. They were just like, here's like a coffee. They brought their own like espresso machine and stuff. And they're like, here's a coffee. And they gave me a coffee, and I was at my desk, and it like got me real fucking wired, and like I was like hyper fucking productive. Like I was like, holy shit. I did like 6 hours of like writing. And I was like, this is why fucking people drink coffee. Never had fucking coffee. And then like now it's like I'm like everyone else, like most people, where you just have caffeine to like stay normal. It's like it's laughable. But I reflect on that. I'm like, I literally did my step 1 and step 2 prep. I never had caffeine. I never drank caffeine in med school. Isn't that weird? Like it was only until the start of the research years. And then it was when I went to rotations. I look back, I'm like, yeah, I'd have coffee on rotations. But I wasn't addicted to it. Like I didn't like wake up needing coffee. It wasn't like that. But like I would get like, like coffees at the hospital and stuff. But like I got through my USMLE prep without any caffeine. That's like, but that demonstrates you don't actually need it. The fact that I did it and I studied long hours, 8 to 12 hours, like every fucking day without caffeine, it says it was like possible. It says that like, you shouldn't need that stuff. Chanela Nisbet, can't stay for the whole live stream, but just wanted to say hey and leave a like. Enjoy the stream, everyone. Okay, well, you're probably not here at this point, but thank you for that in retrospect. Toby, hello, doctor. I'm studying for step 1 exam, but what do you think about the CBSE exam? I passed it without using it. NBME only UWorld and your PDFs. Was it harder than step 1? It's the same as step 1. Heard from people it's harder. It's the same as step 1. Maybe people will think it's harder because they're going to be less prepared for CBSE because you necessarily sit it prior to the USMLE. So if you're less prepared, you got to pass CBSE comp first, and then you're going to be more prepared, and then you finally go into the step 1. Well, no fucking shit that if you're sitting the exact same exam, step 1 in CBSE, and the step 1 you're more prepared by the time you sit it, then you're going to feel as though the CBSE comp in retrospect was harder. That makes sense. Okay, but they're the same fucking questions. unless you're at like SGU with this BSFCR nonsense, or like AUA, which is transitioned to some Kaplan sponsored exam or something. Maybe Avalon as well. So there's like a few schools that like they no longer have an NBME sponsored exam, which means the questions are not the same as the NBME slash USMLE, but for most schools it's the same. Carlos Robel, what's up? Toby, doctor, if you can please roast me after you answer, I would appreciate it. I like your roast. Toby, I love your fucking content. Vicky, Daniel, any tips? Okay, how to remember all of the ANAs that come in rheumatology? What do you mean all of the ANAs? ANA, anti-nuclear antibody, is just one antibody, right? All the antibodies, I've got that stuff in my highlighted amino PDF. You can just go through that. Anti-CCP, rheumatoid factor, all that stuff. All those antibodies are in my immunology PDF. James, hey, Mike, SG recommends taking step 1 by July 2nd if we want to do third year in hospitals like Hackensack, which only start in August. I really wanted to go to Hackensack so I could make my connections to just end there. Oh, okay. For neurosurgery, as previous grads advised me, but I don't feel ready for the exam yet, and I feel like if I don't go to Hackensack, my chances of getting neurosurgery are gone. Any thoughts on that, please? Well, my advice is you got to be prepared to sit step 1. What do you want me to tell you? Like if you're able to sit step 1 on July 2nd, as you said, then you can go to Hackensack. If you are not ready to sit July 2nd because your NBMEs aren't where they need to be, then you're not going to be able to do that. It's not about what we want sometimes. It's about what can actually be done. I'm not going to go on a whole tangent about that. That's how life works, right? We have our own, I had my own stories about stuff like that too, things I wanted to do based on, certain timing or circumstances. Like that's normal. And it's not the end of the world if you can't go to Hackensack. Maybe you're not supposed to go to Hackensack, right? Maybe you don't go to Hackensack. You stay somewhere else that you think is like more boring or something, and you're pissed off about it. And then maybe you meet some chick, right? Maybe you live life happily ever after because you didn't go to Hackensack. It's possible. I mean, I can give like personal anecdotes, personal stories that are not med related that I don't necessarily need to do right now. But what we can do, story time. Is that what we're gonna do? Michael's story time right now. Some people don't like that. Some people get salty at the idea of me talking about like stories and stuff that's not med related. Mo Sadiq, as a book review source, is Master the Boards or White Coat Companion helpful, necessary, or can I do without it? Also regarding UWorld and Amboss, I did for step 1. I talked about this earlier in the live stream. I mean, I said that, books like Master the Boards are potential energy, not kinetic energy for score augmentation, and that I regret having indexed too heavily on that type of book when I was studying for step 2, that I should have just done more questions. That's my sentiment, okay? It's really about questions. That's what you have to do. Got to build up and just do questions, lots of questions. That's how you're going to ace the exam, right? Most Sadiq, I really like your idea of doing a CMS and NBME consolidation. No shit, it's a good idea because it's what you're supposed to do. I really like the idea of eating well and going to the gym if you're supposed to, get fit and get jacked. That sounds like a good idea. You're right. It does sound like a good idea. Some people don't want to do it. They don't want to do the CMS forms twice. Like someone asked earlier in this live stream, do I really have to do the CMS forms second time? Are you sure I have to like eat healthy? Are you sure? I mean, I'm pretty sure. Hi, Dr. Mike. What's the minimum step 2 score to apply into plastic surgery? High. I mean, right? You're talking something that's going to pay well, right? People pay a lot of money, right? So, I mean, you're going to have to get a high 2 CK score. I'd say under 260, no chance. I would say no chance under 260 unless you have like a strong fucking letter and you're not entitled. If you go to a place like Rochester, New York, I mean, I think they have like a 6-year program. I'm just mentioning some random, like, place that's not, you don't think of as prestigious off the top of your head, okay? If you go to, there's lots of programs around the country. But if you choose some random place that's not prestigious and maybe you have a letter relating to that place or you rotate at that place and they know you can get in with like 250s or something. But you got to have like a 260 plus and ideally like 270 plus nowadays, the score inflation, right? And if you want a place like, Massachusetts General Hospital, I would say nothing under. I mean, I've got anecdotes. Like, when I was in med school, I thought about, I said that I was interested in family and peds, but I also considered, these types of things. And what happened was, um, I looked up like at the time, like the MGH, like the Harvard Plastics Program, and yeah, I looked at who was in the program, and then it turned out one of the dudes was like friends with one of my friends from high school. And back in we're talking like this was like 11 years ago, and it wasn't weird. It was probably less weird at the time. Like nowadays, you don't just like DM someone on like Facebook. That's like weird, right? 11 years ago, I just like DM the dude. We had a mutual friend, and I was just like, the dude was literally at like Harvard for residency for plastics. And I just DM'd him like annoying questions like people DM me. And I just said like, did you need like 270s? And his response was, you need like at least 250s. That's what his response was to me, which indicated that he only got like 250s, which at the time would be, that's like getting 260s today. But they might, if you get a letter from an institution, the bar is set lower for you. You can potentially get in if you have a really good letter. It's got to be a really good letter. Mo Sadiq, is the Anki Farm biochemistry helpful for CK preparation? No, I don't think you need to do them for CK. Or just get your Anki Farm for CK. I mean, if you want to do my farm, some people like, they want to do my farm deck for like CK. I mean, it's more step one. Abdul Rahman Ta, don't forget to like the video, you assholes. Need to dip now. Thanks for answering my questions, Goat Man. Thanks, Abdul. Yeah, guys, if you're in the live stream, please give the video a like. Really appreciate it. Giovanni, hey, Dr. Mike, just finished MBME 20 and ended up with a 63%. Apparently that comes out to a 203. Is that good enough to continue on to NVMe 21? Yeah, it is. It's a pass. I said 190 or greater is sufficient to go to NVMe 21. Also, do you recommend doing 2 NVMEs a week, or is that too much? Is that a joke? I've said doing an NVMe every 2 days. So that's, yeah, it's fine. In the final month, you can do an NVMe every 2 days. Most Sadiq, as a book review source, is Bash the Boards or White Coat? You just fucking asked this. Yes, same fucking question. Ezra, Alet Kawi, how to increase my fucking short focus span. Caffeine, I said that before. Mohammed Abadi, if I have gone through your PDFs and your audio cue banks and NBMEs, do I have to watch your pathology videos for step 1 on YouTube? You see, I just lost where I was. Chat moved on me. Can you hear my stomach? Like, yeah, dude, I'm hungry. I need that fucking like a jambalaya or something. Like so you're saying I don't know where the question was that I was looking for. I just like lost that. You're saying if you've gone through my PDFs and my YouTube and my audio cue banks and memes, do I have to watch it? I mean, the pathology videos on my YouTube are my audio cue bank. They're the same thing. I just call the YouTube questions colloquially audio cue bank because the first 200-ish questions were only audio, literally. They were my pre-YouTube days in 2020. Nakia. What the hell? Question mark, question mark. Yeah, you need some southern hospitality. When you come to NOLA, we got you. All the bad food you want, lol. Nice guy Eddie, is it normal to feel like you failed after taking Step 2 CK? How you feel coming out of the exam means jack shit in terms of how it correlates to a score. You know, this is very like ubiquitously understood. Okay, they're untethered. Your feelings coming out are untethered to your objective performance. Just how it is. You're gonna probably have scored around the average of your NBMEs, most likely. Ahmed Elman, our educated guess is fair game. Sure. I've said don't choose weird sounding shit if you don't know an answer, and if you don't know an answer, don't change your answer. If you have a gut feeling about something, don't change your answer to something else if you don't know, and don't choose weird sounding shit. I see it all the time with students, especially students I already inculcate that point. I'm like, don't choose weird sounding shit. They don't know an answer. What do? They choose weird sounding shit. Stigmata. You said you're doing blocks of 20 questions. Are you familiar with weird fluctuations of scores like 30 to 60, 30 to 70? Don't care. Don't care. What do you want me to do? Say that you're like psychologically unstable? Like, what do you want me to, how do you want me to respond to that? Fluctuations are normal. Yes. It's a toss up. That's how it works. Mohammed Abadi. I was talking about the early audio Q bank, not YouTube, but yeah, I will keep giving you loads of likes. Thanks, Mohammed. Mohammed. Now we've got another Mohammed. Mohammed Hassan. My phone has like 700 Mohammeds in there. I'm like, what video? And Mustafa's as well. I've got like probably 15 Mustafas in my phone. I'm like, what video would you recommend or textbooks to understand and master cardiology, respiratory, especially physiology, ECGs, radiology? It's called my fucking PDFs. Dude, my cardio PDF is fucking ace for ECGs, murmurs, all that stuff, dude. Like, you kidding me? Respiratory, like my PDFs are fucking ace. Have you guys looked at my cardio and pulmonary like PDFs, the updated ones? You get people who are like in my community who like don't know like my resources. That's like what's weird. It's like people are like like on my website, people will like they'll hit like they'll go to the contact us tab where I literally wrote in bold letters at the top, don't fill out this form unless you have serious tutoring inquiries. And then I have like 100 fucking emails where someone's like, help me, like how do I like prepare for like, no, like, and it's like I have an idea. It's on the fucking website that you're submitting this. It's like click on the free stuff tab. All the resources are there. Where do I find your PDFs? It's called click on the free stuff tab. What video? Here we go again. What videos or textbook help you understand neuroanatomy? Does anyone have an answer for that? What should Muhammad do for neuroanatomy? Do you understand I have the best fucking neuroanatomy PDF out there? That shit's fucking like, it's world class. First Last says, could you explain how to differentiate Becker's dystrophy from Duchenne's in a question? I mean, Becker is going to be like teenager or young adult, right? Duchenne's going to be a kid who has Gower maneuver, right? He uses arms to walk up off the floor. Duchenne can be frame shift. Becker is non-frame shift. They're both X-linked recessive DMD gene on the X chromosome, right? So longest gene. And you're talking a mutation alpha beta dystroglycan or dystrophy glycan, which is a cytoskeletal anchoring protein, links the cytoskeleton to the extracellular matrix, right? But it's going to be a teenager, young adult for Becker. It's going to be a kid for Duchenne. And you can get pseudohypertrophy of the calves in particular. You get weakened hip muscles, but also pseudohypertrophy, which was replacement of muscle fibers with fibroadipose tissue, connective tissue. Hyper basic. I couldn't answer an easier question than that. That's pass level. But that's a good question because I would rather have a student inquire about that than like, you know, do I need to know Kaplan-Meier curves or like Lineweaver-Burke plot? Like, tell me about Lineweaver-Burke plot, but they don't know fucking Duchesne versus Becker. So, you know, I don't respond like with condescension, but it's I just articulate that that's pass level versus something like obscure. So it's good to ask like high yield conditions. Yes. KK. Huh. I am a female. You are amazing, Doc. I would like to meet you in person. You are awesome. Thanks, KK. Well, I mean, as I said, I dated a KK a couple of years ago. So if I date a second KK, that would be intriguing, right? My stomach's just like going off. Like I haven't had like borborygmi in like a long time because I normally just like I don't know why am I that hungry? Like, what's the deal? Moomal Rose, hi Mike. Hope you're good. Just wondering, once you get through steps 1 through 3, does the ECFMG certification exams last indefinitely? I don't know the situation. I think it does. I think it does. James, so you recommend doing your cardiopulmonary renal gastro heme arrows PDF before touching biochem, neuroanatomy, or derm, right? Basically, most of the time. Joshua Vasquez, hi, taking step 2 in 2 days. Gonna crush it. Thanks for your help. Just curious, where do you accumulate your medical knowledge? Did you go to med school? What do you mean, did I go to med school? What kind of laughable question is that? And also, why are you in Japan? You are a doc there? Question mark. Graduated med school in Australia. Why am I in Japan? I said I like Asian chicks. No, I don't practice here. I just do USMLE stuff. That's what I do. People think that's like radical or something. That's like astonishing. Like, why? Why is that weird? It's called the internet. Believe it or not, it's called the internet. This isn't 1996. Like, we've got like ways to interact with the world, right? If you're good enough, you can break through. That's how it works. Right? So I'm breaking through very, 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 very slowly, not fast. It requires putting out videos every fucking day. Every fucking day. That's what it requires. Let there be no confusion, that if I get to 100K or something, or big numbers, you can't have audacity, can't have entitlement. You have to have humility. But let there be no fucking confusion that if that happens in like 4 years, whatever, 5 years, I don't fucking know. If it happens, it'll be like, well, I put out videos every fucking day for like years. That's how you accumulate your medical knowledge, is it's repetition and it's time and it's hours. And I not only did I study in med school myself back in the day, right? I graduated in 2016. I worked for First Aid for a couple of years. That was a way of consolidating knowledge. An author and editor. I worked on the RX Q Bank. I was an editor for USMLE RX back in the day. I was an editor for the video series FA had. They had like a flash slide series, Express at the time. Been tutoring for over a decade. So I mean, like, it's not rocket science. It's like, it's time. Muhammad Hassan, can I do your PDFs before doing UWorld and Amboss? Yes, but I recommend just starting QBank right away and doing doing PDFs simultaneous. You don't have to do PDFs prior to QBank. Yeah. Joshua Vasquez, would love to hear you say wrong fucking answer in person. I lost where I was in the chat. I said sometimes when you guys post things, it moves the chat on me. The fuck am I in the chat, dude? Here we go. I'm just gonna pick up random place in the fucking chat. Do you recommend doing your cardio, pulmonary, renal, gastro? No, I read that. Okay. Javaria Naveed, hey, we just started a full-fledged prep. Would I be able to take my exam in October along with med school, following your high yield guidelines? October is like not soon. That's fine, right? July, August, September, October. You're talking like 3 to 4 months. It's a long time. You only need to do QBank for like upwards of 2 months. It should take you to finish it, and then you have a month for the NBMEs. So that's like, there you go, 3 months. Guys, give the video a like if you're coming into the chat, right? Give the video a like. And subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, right? Because if you're observing this right now and you're not subscribed to my channel, you're a fucking asshole, right? Or you're just discontent. You're like, I'm not fully pleased. I don't want to sub to his channel. I'm not fully content. I need to be more content before subscribing to his channel, right? I mentioned how yesterday, like in the live stream, like I eyeball, like I'm focused on the chat right now, okay? But I happen to glance sometimes at how many people are in here, etc. And yesterday it was at like 50 likes, and then I was like on the chat, and then I looked back like a moment later, and it was at 49 likes. So it means someone had rescinded his or her like, right? Someone was discontent with my live stream and decided, you know what? I'm going to unlike, I liked it, but I'm going to unlike this live stream. That's what I'm going to do. It's not about giving a fuck about one like. I'm just saying there's certain like human behaviors that I find like amusing, right? Right? Because someone's like, I don't like something. I don't like how he came off, or I don't like, I'm discontent with this live stream. Ahmed Al Sadie, is it easier to approach chicks in Japan more than Australia? I mean, it could be like an impetus like that, right? Someone here is like, oh no, I don't answer that. Talk about med only, Michael. Don't answer that question. Ahmed, is it easier to approach chicks in Japan more than Australia? I mean, language barrier matters. I'd say Australia is way fucking easier for cold approach. Way easier. Australia is like a fucking like circus. Australia is a fucking circus. It's like, if I can attempt to articulate it, it would be like, imagine like traveling somewhere and you're backpacking. Like imagine like you're just going to go to London and stay in like a hostel or something. And what's going to happen? You're going to be more open-minded, maybe. You're like, willing to meet people. Like that's kind of the feeling like a lot of Australia has, where you get a lot of people where they're in like more of an open headspace, right? There's an increased probability of like having progression of interactions, rather than like in Japan, it's like cultural, where it's like people are very scared, very mousy. That's like a baseline. That's your starting point. There's people still wearing fucking masks here. You know that? So it's like, you're talking like different levels of like, social norms, in terms of like, Australia is like a fucking, yeah, it's like a pool party. Australia was a circus for like, I'll just leave it at that. Asan Asif, Mike, I'm underconfident while answering, but my concepts are good. I'm not sure why I'm underconfident while answering. Can you give any tips? Just do more questions, right? You got to just, it's like the practice makes perfect aphorism, in that you have to just do more questions, right? I'd say, if you were meeting with me over Skype, I'd be like, what do you want me to tell you right now? You got to just do more questions, and you got to just, you got to be strong mentally, because isn't that the, what's the alternative? That you're just going to be like worried? So you got to try to be strong about things and just do more questions and cover the material. And as your knowledge base improves, you will gain confidence alongside that. Foz, why do you say calisthenics are beta? Calisthenics are beta. Like, if you're a dude, you got to lift. Like, none of this like body weight bullshit. Okay. I've said that, like, I'll be at the gym trying to like bench or something, and there'll be like some beta Japanese dude next to me doing like jumping jacks. And I like can't fucking focus. There'll be like literally like a dude doing jumping jacks. And I'm trying to like lift. It's like none of this like push-ups with hand clapping and stuff. Like, just fucking lift. Like, yes, calisthenics are beta. Like, yes, that's my view. Right? Like, if you're a dude, you gotta fucking like lift. None of this like running up and down a hill, you know? But Mike, pull-ups are really good. Okay, yes, you can do pull-ups. I do pull-ups. But you can also do like, lateral pull down with heavier weight. You can do that. Like, if you're doing calisthenics, I'd say there's an increased probability you're also like vegan or like strict vegetarian. Like, that's also beta. Like, as a dude, you have to eat meat. I said, like, I think carnivore diet's low IQ. I think, like, I don't think that is good. Like, you have to eat a lot of like greens and salad, but like, you got to eat meat as a dude. Fish, yes. You got to eat protein, like actual like animal protein. None of this like I eat carrots bullshit, right? Like, if you're vegetarian or vegan as a dude, like, chances are like, you're like you have a softer personality as well. Like, no dude who has like a more of like an aggressive personality or assertive personality is like fucking vegan. Like, these things aren't an accident. Like, I just said like a carnivore diet's low IQ, but like, take someone like Joe Rogan, right? What does he do? He eats fucking meat. His like Instagram is like literally like a piece of fucking meat, literally, with like a knife. I mean, like, okay, and you have a high fucking testosterone dude who's like, black belt, whatever. I mean, these things, these correlations aren't an accident. Okay. So if you're doing calisthenics, you're probably fucking vegan. And you probably also like don't say hi to girls. Asana Asif got average 60 65% in random blocks. Is that good? It's borderline. You got to get at least 2/3. That's what I want to see. Oh, but if you're talking about UWorld or Ambos, 60s is good. Muhammad Hassan, Mike, do you see errors in how medicine is being practiced or medical school syllabus being taught, etc.? Like, thoughts on USMLE material and system? Do you see anything wrong with how it should be solved? I just lost where I fucking was. Oh, here it is. I've said that I think curricula need to cater to the NVMe material. Like, you get schools, not just Caribbean. Like, I've had schools contact me. I'm not gonna say the schools, but I've had like MD US schools actually reach out to me and say, like, my students, like an advisor at like a good MD US school reached out to me and said, my students like use your stuff and they're not passing the step one. Like, they asked me to look at your YouTube and you're like a straight shooter in terms of like no bullshit. And I talked on the phone for like a half an hour with this advisor at a USMD med school, and she was like flabbergasted as to like I was like, you got to fucking have your students do like MDs 20 through 31. She's like, really? I was like, you're on like crack. I was like, what are you guys doing? It was a free phone call. I'm not doing that again. But that was over a year ago. That was over a year ago. It's not going to happen again, though. Hi, Dr. Mike. Sokib. Sadov. Hi, Dr. Mike. Sokib. Thank you so much for what you're doing for us. Zikzui. You asked this question before, Zikzui. It's such like an inappropriate question. I say that like half joking. It's like I can't read that out loud. Not in my medical stream. I can't do that. The answer is no to that, though. You know, females differ in that regard, the same way, like, Muhammad Hassan, if someone failed step one, will that affect them in future? And what should they do in order to cover the fail? Um, Look, I mean, if you fail step one, obviously it will make it harder to get into some programs. I mean, don't be disillusioned. Of course, it's going to make it harder, but don't, get discouraged because, yeah, you can match. I've talked about how you just can't be entitled, right? You have to apply broadly. You have to apply in a preliminary and transitional years as well. You just can't be entitled. James, my question was more like, does it matter where you do third year when it comes to matching into competitive residencies like neurosurgery? No, I don't think it matters. You just got to get a high 2CK score, get your letters, have a good class rank. It doesn't matter. Joy, Aid, yeah, we can hear it, huh? You can hear my stomach? You could hear not now, but it was like rumbling. KK, you should eat. What kind of food you like? I think I just talked about like meat for like, at least like 5 minutes, didn't I? I like red meat. I eat steak a lot. Steak is my favorite food. Like a good I eat good steak here. I eat a lot of steak. I'll have it with like a little bit of potato. I try not to have carbs. Like I rarely eat bread. I mean, I posted some IG stories, I think one or two, maybe a story where I had 6 hard-boiled eggs with 3 slices of toast and a glass of milk. That's like it was like unusual for me to have like bread. That's unusual for me. You can cut out carbs that way. Pretty much most of my carbs, I'd say, come from granola. Granola is where most of my carbs come from. Like I try not to eat white rice too much. Um, it's small things like that, you know. But I'm not in like a cutting phase right now. I haven't run in like maybe around 3 weeks. That's a long time, but it's because it's summer, So I'm like trying to, bulking right now. That's what I'm doing. But then when we get into the fall, you know, I'll run a lot more and then cut more and then right. That's what I'll do in the fall. I was fat last year. Like if you go to my old like YouTube clips, like some of them are like cringe. I shouldn't be hard on myself like in terms of my appearance that way. People criticize my appearance all the time. You can't have negative self-talk, right? But like I look back at some of my old clips and like some of them are like cringe. I was like, wow, I didn't like, you know, that's kind of like when you have a video, when you put out videos every day, that's sort of incidentally going to be like a documentation of your like, and it's not like I'm searching for that, but it's like if it happens to fucking pop up on my screen or someone posts a link to the Telegram group of like, here's a video and Mike talked about how to do 2CK World or something. It's a video I put out like fucking like a year, 18 months ago or something. Some of these videos, I'm like, damn, I was like didn't look that good in some of those videos. You can't have negative self-talk. So whether I look like shit in the past or whether, I've attempted to enhance it, in the present, people are going to talk big fucking shit regardless. That's what's going to happen. You got to get used to people talking shit. What is Amin asks, what is max duration for step 2 for high score? 4 months, I've said, like 2 months QBank, 2 months Ambassador World. And then you're going to do, as I said, it'll be 7 weeks-ish, 6 to 7 weeks to go through 2 passes of the CMS forms, and another like 2 weeks to go through 6 through 14 and free 120. So you're talking like 9 weeks, 8 to 9 weeks post QBank. So 2 weeks for QBank, 2 weeks for QBank, 2 months for QBank, 2 months for post QBank NBME CMS content. Ugal 101, thank you for all your wonderful advice. Moomal Rose, what would you suggest going through your PDFs again for step 3 or just the high-yield arrows? Yeah, do my PDFs for step 3. High-yield arrows, not really for step 3, right? I lost where I was. Here we are. Mike M. How's that? Mike M. Thanks, Dr. Mike. I got 210 on NBME 21. Ready to take the test in 1 month? Question mark. Yes, that's a good score, but you got to sit the other NBMEs to corroborate that score. Ume Kayabas. Hey, Mike, please tell me how can I improve my anatomy for step 1? Do my fucking anatomy PDF, right? I have an excellent anatomy MSK rheumatology PDF. Adam Gaby. Hi, Mike. Is it okay to use letters of recommendation from FM doctors when applying for IM residency? Yeah, it's totally fine. Ali H. Hi, Dr. Mike. If a question on UWorld Amboss takes too long to understand, is there a time limit diagnosis you recommend per questions, correct versus incorrect? It doesn't matter. Just give about an hour per 10 questions. UGL 101, I guess sometimes double click can happen on the like button. Also sometimes, especially where internet is laggy. Okay. Guys, give the video a like if you haven't already. And subscribe my channel. If you're watching this, you're not subscribed my channel, we have problems. Serious problems. Right? Like before I went to bed yesterday, I had like a big surge in subscribers, and then like I slept for like, I don't know, 6 hours, and I woke up and like it hadn't really gone up that much. I was like, what the fuck? Because I got like high on my own supply before I went to bed. Like a high on my own supply. I was like, oh, it went up a lot. It's gonna go up a lot, and then it like didn't go up like anything for like 6 hours, 8 hours. Kanye. What engendered your interest in lexicology in 20s or before? I don't know what engendered my interest in lexicology, I just like learning, like I like words. There wasn't a specific impetus. I think what actually got me out of studying I think what the more important question is, why did I stop studying it? Which was because it rubbed people the wrong way. Where did I lose? I lost that question. Because if you start studying a lot of words, you're gonna be using those words more often, even if accidentally, and that worsens conversation. It doesn't facilitate it. So it's like it doesn't. In terms of practicality, if it's not ego related, it's like, what's the purpose? Like, why are we doing that? Like, what's the purpose? So, but yeah, when I was in like first year med, second year med, I used to make like flashcards with like vocabulary words, English I used to study like English vocabulary when I was in like first and second year med. That's what I used to do. I used to like study words. It had nothing fucking related to med school. I just would like study words. And then like it rubbed people the wrong way because I would use like big words. I'm so cool, right? But it's not cool. Amin Youssef, is it good to do your PDFs along with first aid? I've said you can just do the PDFs alongside cubing. KK, I'm going to listen to your question videos for 2 hours, 2 blocks, and 2 PDFs a day. Do you think this is a good idea? Also, is it possible to do 2 PDFs? You're not going to be able to do 2 PDFs a day. No way. No way. Some people can barely get through like a PDF in like a week, and you're talking about like 2 PDFs in a day, KK? No way. You got to look at my PDFs. Like gastro is like 93 pages or something, right? Some of the PDFs are long. I think like, like a psych PDF is very short. Like the endocrine, not high yield arrows, but like high yield endocrine, that's a short PDF. So there are some shorter ones, but like most of the PDFs, they're going to take you at least like a few days, I would think. Tanya, Thakur 170. Hey, Mike, what is your opinion on recalls? Questions that circulate around on Reddit. I think it's karmic. That's my thought on it. If you look, the only way you get scammed in life or encounter problems is if you try to take shortcuts. You have to understand that there's no shortcuts in life. People who try to like sell recalls and stuff. I want you to understand something, guys. The NBMEs are recalls, right? The NBMEs are the USMLE. They are. The NBME questions are the same as the real USMLE. right? So those are your recalls. Just do the NBME exams. KK, I do kickboxing and I'm a vegetarian. You said you're a chick. You said you are right. I hate being a soft person. LOL. I'm into chicks who are like, softer that way though. You know? Like I wouldn't want to date a chick who's like a fucking police officer, right? Like kickboxing, like martial arts in a female, I don't view as like that's not personally something I would find like right? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just if I imagine like a feminine submissive chick, like you know, I don't see kickboxing as like consonant with that. Uh we veer off topic, but it's like you're like, well, I'm submissive and I do kickbox. I mean, we're gonna have a conversation like that right now, right? You're like, I do kickboxing, but I want a dude who's like a fucking like UFC fighter. That makes sense. Okay, fine. So you pair with a dude who's well above you in terms of martial arts, where it doesn't fucking matter, and then there you go. But it makes sense that you're a female and you're a vegetarian because if you're a dude and you're a vegetarian, as I said, that's beta. You know. So let's see, where was I? Mike M. If I get a 210, when should I book? I'd want you to sit all the NBMEs, Mike M. That's what I'd want. I want you to sit all the NBMEs. Um, I'm not going to have you book your exam based on one NBME. I would say like sit another two NBMEs and do well on them. Get like 205, 210 plus, and then we can just book your exam for like 3 weeks from now or something. Get through all the NBMEs, 20 through 24, free 120, 25 through 31. Yugo 101. What is a good step 2 CK score for an old graduate like 10 years out of med school for IM? You have to take step 3. You can match with any step 2 score, but you got to sit step 3 if you've been out of med school for a while. Jay Haydock, what percent correct on the CMS forms is adequate? I'd say at least 35 out of 50. 70%. Over, 40 out of 50 is really good. 80%. Alfredo Aguilera Limon scoring 60 to 70% on New World QBank. Second pass, which tests should I use to evaluate progress? UWSA question mark, which NBME question mark? You're not going to evaluate progress. I've said, why are you doing a second pass of UWorld? That's not necessary. You can stop your second pass of UWorld and just do the NBMEs. Reem Al now. Can I skip biostats and quality control and still get above 260? I would say no. You can't skip biostats. You can skip quality and control nonsense. I've ripped on that as far as like that's just like learn how to wash your fucking hands, learn how to take out a catheter. Don't leave catheters in. But like biostats, like you should do my PDF on that. Mark Maker, can you please go over the different kinds of rickets? Your step is tomorrow. Different kinds of rickets? Oh, like hypophosphatemic, like X-linked dominant hypophosphatemic rickets versus just like regular vitamin D deficiency in kids causing rickets. The former is nonsense. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, yeah, you should know obviously rickets is vitamin D deficiency, right? In kids. They like cystic fibrosis as a cause of vitamin E deficiency as well as vitamin D deficiency. You got to know vitamin D deficiency, PTH goes up. So calcium's low. Phosphate can be low or normal. PTH will go up. And if phosphate's normal, it's because, they can give phosphate normal sometimes. But you should just know like PTH goes up. That's what you should know. What do you think is a good residency fellowship to get into, considering AI would be incorporating quite a bit in most fields? I don't think it matters because as AI gets incorporated and as AI, you know, starts to out displace humans in certain areas, humans will just do other things. We might synergize. We don't know yet. We don't know if it'll just be AI completely separated, or if there will be, that synergism where it becomes our tertiary layer of cognition, right? Like we don't know exactly what's going to happen yet with AI. Um, we don't know yet. It makes sense that computers eventually will just be incorporated, will just be in our brain basically, where we walk around as like the cyborg version of humans is like you're walking around with like the internet in your head. Imagine that, right? And you can telepathically, the same way we're doing this right now, this live stream, I'm using my laptop. Well, what if I'm not using my laptop? This is in my fucking head. Well, I'd be telepathically somehow communicating with every like people across the world. That's what's going to happen by the end of the 21st century, in my view. I think computers and humans are going to merge by the end of the 21st century, and I think like we will look back. They will look back at like computers being external to humans, sort of like we look back at uh, like coal power or something, or like candle lights, like candle like lighting a house with candles is like how they're gonna look back at like they're gonna be like, did you know they used to have like computers used to be external, right? They'll just be they're gonna merge with humans by 2100, I think. So just everything will be telepathic, and it's going to be AI that yeah, AI is going to solve all the formulae for physics, and it'll solve climate. It's going to solve it's AI. That's all we need to do is just finish AI, and then AI will start to improve itself, and then AI is going to be not humans. AI is going to be what travels to star systems and stuff. It's not going to be humans. You know, chimpanzees didn't travel to the moon. Cats didn't cross the Atlantic. You know, if there's no land bridge, cats didn't cross the Atlantic. Chimpanzees didn't travel to the moon. It required getting to humans to get there to be like a minimal threshold of intelligence, and humans were able to get to the moon. Humans might be able to get to Mars, right? I think humans will get to Mars, no problem. But humans can't get to Proxima Centauri. Humans can't. Humans aren't smart enough to get there, and humans won't get there. But AI will. Okay. So chimpanzees couldn't get to the moon, nor will they ever. Humans will never get to Alpha Centauri. It'll be AI that gets to Alpha Centauri because AI is going to solve the physics, and AI will, if we if it has to be sublight travel in some form, then it'll just be digital preservation, like the way a computer can just stay in sleep mode or something. But AI will be able to store itself digitally and then just emerge as like in a distant system somewhere. How's that for like talk at 5:04 a.m., right? I mean, what am I off on right now? But I mean, I don't really know what to tell you. It's like I just completely like bypassed all the med fucking talk in this chat, but that's what kind of happens with these live streams as I get later into them. Right? I was answering like USMLE questions, and now I'm talking about like AI going to Proxima Centauri. Like, what the fuck is that? Right? That's like that's a little bit unusual, isn't it? Stand and Deliver. Greetings from Mexico. Thank you, Dr. Mike. Stand and Deliver. Thanks for being a member of my channel. And I know you're a member because you're green. And you got my icon next to you. Everyone else is gray. Reem Alno. I'm just start looking at some of these questions here. I'm not going to read every question now. I want to wrap the live stream, so I'm just going to look at. There's quite a few. So Reem, you said on step 1 you only got 11 questions of biostats, and you wasted 3 weeks learning it. No, you didn't. On step 2, how many questions are in biostats? Biostat. I mean, look, if you don't know biostats, you can kiss a good score goodbye. Like you have to know basic biostats for sure. And you can't teach math either. It's like trying to like teach somebody to get like a certain score on the math on the SATs. It's like, it's going to be easier for some people than others to do biostats. Mohammed Abadi, Mike, I am really astonished why you're doing all this good stuff and giving us these amazing PDFs for free. I mean, FA costs $50 and it's not half as good as you. Let there be no fucking confusion that if my stuff weren't free, basically none of you would be here. Right? I don't need like some, people have said, why don't you make your PDFs like $8 or put it behind a paywall or something? It's like, well, okay. If you want your fucking $8, if I want my $8 for, people to see my PDFs, then, for every one person that pays me, my $14 to see my PDFs, or $8 per PDF, whatever it is, that's cool. Well, okay, there'll be 999 people out of 1,000 who are like, fuck that. You have to have like, not audacity. You have to have literally like temerity, like insolence, to think that people, like, with the amount that's on the internet for free, that people are going to pay for your dumb shit. Like, you have to have like temerity, right? The way you have to break through on the internet, you have to like put out everything for fucking free, and you have to like not expect anything in return. That's how it is. Like, you can't put out stuff and expect people to pay. Time is different, like Skype time or something, that's different. Your time. But like content, like written content, and let there be no confusion. FA, sure. I mean, you can pay $50 for it, but they don't make $50 from it. Like, they make maybe like $5 per copy or something, or $8 per copy tops. And people pass it around for free, right? People pass it around for free. Things get passed around for free. That's how it works. Moha, Japan, it was a short salute encounter. No hard feelings. My question comes as an old grad with before score inflation era. I'm trying to get into internal medicine. Christian Ong. Why do you bulk in the summer? I thought most people come out because most people cut in the summer because hot weather and can wear shirts. Most people bulk in the winter since they can eat holiday food and wear heavy clothing. I mean, I cut before, like, I cut coming into summer, right? So I got like ripped coming into summer. And then now I'm like, now that, we're wearing t-shirts and stuff, I'm bulking. Bulking for me doesn't mean getting fat. Bulking for me just means like being okay putting on a little bit more mass and not running at the moment. But if you cut properly, like through spring and stuff, then like putting on like a little bit of extra mass, you're not going to be like fat. But I think in the winter, like, you don't have to like show off your fucking arms and stuff in the winter. Like, you can wear like flannels, you can wear jackets. Like, why are you bulking? Why are you focused on getting massive in the winter when you're not even wearing like t-shirts? Like, what are you doing? So in the winter, that's your time to like cut. You get fucking like ripped and you lose all your like extra fat, right? That's my view. And so you can lose that extra fat and feel okay with it because you're like, it's okay if like my arms get smaller in the winter or something because, I'm wearing long sleeves anywhere. I'm wearing flannels anyway. It's like, it doesn't matter if my arms get a little bit smaller in the winter. That's okay. So you can cut in the winter. These are the things you got to think about as a dude. Girls, they don't think about this stuff. They don't have to think about it. Guys have to think about this stuff. Vishbom, do you know a second language? What other languages you know? Japanese, English. I was bar mitzvahed, so I could like read Hebrew. I can't speak it though. It's like I could probably pick it up if I studied it. And I used to speak Spanish before I moved to Japan. I forgot all my Spanish. But I had like one of my ex-girlfriends before I moved to Japan. She was from Colombia. And so we used to I used to just talk to her in Spanish. We used to have conversations, but I've forgotten all my Spanish. I don't remember any Spanish. MA001, what a person need to be able to match into a highly competitive residency, strong 2CK scores, good class rank, good letters. Good afternoon, doctor. I completed Awakened by Ya. Good afternoon, Dr. Mehlman. You spelled my name wrong. I completed USMLE RX UWorld and Lecturio QBanks. I started viewing your audio QBanks PDF, CBS NDME graduated. You're scheduled for August 12th. Should I start another QBank? Dude, you need to be starting the NBME exams by July, like 9th or so. That's when you need to start the NBMEs. Amin Youssef, is it necessary to do the first 3 chapters? No, it's not. Braden Jackson, low carbs equals no ramen. No, I eat ramen, but no, I eat ramen. I should have mentioned that. Sometimes I eat ramen because that's a bulk. That's what I mean by bulking right now. Like I'll eat ramen with like a shitload of meat. I get like triple meat, and like I like that. Like, um, yeah, but I won't have the gyoza. I won't have, which are like dumplings. I won't have like fried chicken with it, which is karaage. That stuff's really, really fucking amazing. I avoid that stuff right now. But like I'll have ramen for sure. That's what I mean by bulking. Because when I'm cutting, I won't have that. Find myself, but aren't chicks a waste of time? What's that in reference to? Find myself. There's no context to that. Noel Chan, an ideal time for prep for step 1. I've said about 3 months, about 2 months for QBank, 1 month for NBMEs. You said you're 5 months out. I said you only need 3 months. I mean, what are the most important NBMEs and how long should they take? You're going to do all 20 through 24, then free 120, then 25 through 31. You're going to do all of them. Not some, all. They're all important, all of them. Yes, you're going to do all of them. Mike, should I only do 25 to 31? No, you're going to do all of them. Von Wellbrand Disease asks, what's your favorite watch in your collection? Also, is that Royal Oak? Is that a Royal Oak? I see. I have many. I have a few Royal Oaks. I do. I have like several. Connie Gonzalez, hi Dr. Mehlman. Following your NBME schedule, scored 68 on NBME 21 and then down to 58 for NBME 22. Do I go back to QBank and see how I do? You're going to have to go back to QBank, yes, because you failed 22. Yep. You're going to go back to QBank, Connie, for an entire month till the end of July. You don't want to do that? Okay, don't take my advice, but I would do QBank for a whole month, and then you're going to go back to 23. 58 is too low. You got to go back to QBank for a month. Nakia Brooks, Mike's PDFs is FA 2023 and beyond, and they are free, no brainer. ABCD, will a 205 in step 3 be considered as a red flag after CK scored 271? That's laughable, dude. How would that be possible, dude? How would you go from like a 271 on step 2 though to like a 205 on step 3? How is that possible? Right? I don't see how that's possible. ABCD, is that even possible? You must have dropped like a fucking all that knowledge base. I think that would be considered a red flag. I think it would be. Right? Because it's impossible to drop like multiple tiers like that. You're dropping to like just the pass level because 198 is a pass for step 3. So you're dropping down to you just passed, whereas 271 and CK are in the upper bracket. So it's like, it means that you've detrained, you've lost the knowledge base, and that's a red flag. Yes. When I tell people to sit step 3, the implication is that they can at least like maintain a relative percentile. That's the expectation. And also, if you scored a 271 on CK, it means you clearly know how to study, and it means you're clearly bright. So I'd be very surprised that someone who's capable of such a high score would allow him or herself to get a 205 in the first place. Like you would have to know going in. You're like, you clearly know how to study, and then you allow yourself to get that score. Like, why? Why would you do that? I don't know if you're talking about someone else or what, but Anamar, thank you for everything you do, Dr. Mike. John Stansby, step 2 in 2 days. Any last minute recommendations? NBME 14. Make sure you do that. It's a new form. Zema Sound, hey Melman, what do you consider a book like first aid for Step two, I've said don't use books for step two, Zama. You're going to do my PDFs. Cardiopulmonary, renal, gastro, heme are really good for internal medicine. Do those. Do my free PDFs. Go into the PDF Zama. Look at my PDFs on my site. Okay. I could easily like amalgamate them, right? And make them like a book, but I think they're easier to digest as PDFs. Yugo 101. Why haven't humans been able to go back to the moon again though? They could. It's just not financially like worth it. Before it was really about like, it was like Cold War stuff, wasn't it? With like Russia, it was like a space race. So it was like, but after some point, it's like spending like $550 million to like go to the moon to like collect a rock when like, you've already been there like 8 times, 10 times. Like, what's the benefit at that point? So at some point, it was like, recently been thinking it was a hoax. You said, nah, don't go there. Like, what is this, like Joe Rogan stuff? It's a joke. Nakia Brooks, what is Soap by Dr. M? Are these potential open slots for residency programs that did not select candidates during match? Another option for those that didn't match to their choice? Yeah, I'm not too familiar with that. There are people who do like soap entrance. I'm not too familiar with that process. Mohammed Yaman AL Matney. I am an IMG right now doing research at an American university. I'm preparing for Step 2 CK. Any tips for time management? Um, I mean, you got to get through at least 40, 80 questions per day in QBank. Time management would entail like you just knocking out QBank. Like don't allow yourself to fall under 40 questions per day. As long as you like just objectively finish QBank 40 per day, you're making minimal progress. I'm gonna end this live stream at about 2 hours. Hello, Doc. I'm about to get so give the video a like, guys. Really appreciate it. Hello, Doc. I'm about to get started with step 2 prep, and I'm planning to do it according to your recommendation. I was just wondering for timeline, blah, blah, blah. I've talked about this repeatedly. How many times have I mentioned this live stream? Like 14 times for step 2. You're going to do UWorld or Amboss. They're non-superior to each other. You can do either or. Then, so it's going to take you like 2 months. You do the entire thing, half. Then you're going to do 3 to 3.5 weeks to get through all the CMS forms, which is 2 per day maximum. Okay, it depends on how busy you are, etc. But like 2 per day, 3 to 3.5 weeks, and maybe 6 through 8. Double pass of all the CMS forms, another 3 to 3.5 weeks. Free 120, and maybe 9 through 14. That's what you're going to do. Well, find myself. You're asking. I'm going to have to look at your previous comment. You said, but aren't chicks a waste of time? And then you said, in the context of having one stable chick instead of having many and focusing more on other stuff in life. Look, it's a lengthy chat. I mean, like, yeah, I can blow that door open in my medical live stream. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do talk about certain things. People are going to have different preferences in terms of like how they date, right? Women are the gender, not men. Women are the gender that 99% of the time engages in one night stands, not men. Society makes it out as though men is the gender that does that. It's not true. Women ghost 99% of the time. That's female behavior. And the reason it's discussed as the reason like alpha men are shamed into like, don't be a player, take relationships seriously. It's part of like what's called the female imperative to try to make alpha guys more beta, so that there's an increased probability of women being able to lock down alpha guys as their beta companion. Right? Isn't that ideal for a female, that she can find a guy that she perceives as like a top alpha, but yet she can secure him as a beta and make him think that like it's honorable to be like a beta. It's honorable to be like, committed to me and not going out and see other women. So it's pushed on men to like, don't be a player, don't engage in one night stands. but it's maximal projection because women, not men, are the gender that engages in one night stands. But I'd say about 99% of the time. The guys can be attractive too. No homo. The guys can be attractive. Women will still ghost. You know, that's a long discussion because people can opine at multiple levels. Like that'll never go away in terms of people's opinions about like. But women, for them to really like commit to a male where they're like content, he's pretty much got to be like 2 to 4 tiers above her, not equal. Women don't commit to men generally like they don't want to commit to men within their tier. They want to commit to men like significantly above them, and that's why you get guys who they'll get ghosted a lot because the woman's looking for Tom Brady. She's not going to settle for less than Tom Brady, and then she'll get to be older, and then she's not going to have a partner or no kids, or and not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's like that's a common trajectory. Von Wilbrand Aziz says, sorry for asking the watch questions, but what kind of watch is that? Yeah. I mentioned in my YouTube and my IG lives, my IG live before I start. It's a man's watch, you know what I'm saying? It's not this is a watch that you just get as a dude. No chick's gonna have a watch like this. Just put it that way. Blue cues, step 1 in 2 weeks, currently going through high yield arrows, any other last minute. Obviously the NBME is 25 through 31 in your final 2 weeks. Connie Gonzalez, thank you for the response. My exam is July 20th, so I don't have a month. So QBank greater than the rest of NBMEs? Absolutely not. Laughable. Like you're gonna be Connie, you're gonna be focused on the NBMEs in your final month, not fucking UWorld. Laughable. AP Sans, yo, what's up, bud? AP Sans, you're late to the live stream. You missed all of it. Maya Kasim, what's going on? Mia. How's Japan like medicine, Japan versus US, or is it more or less the same? I mean, I don't practice here, but I mean, it's Japan's very difficult, very rigid. It's got a lot of rules, a lot of policies. Monty, damn, I want that watch, Mike. I said it's a fucking man's watch. Which company model? Double question mark. I literally have, I can have like an AP that is like the equivalent of can buy a house, right? You can buy like a house like with an AP, but then like, this one, which is not that expensive, but it's a man's watch, as I said. Priya, hey Mike, I made me 29, 65%. It made me 30, 61%. Plan to do 31, free 120, exam in 2 weeks, a dual. You got to postpone. You failed NBME 30. I mean, I'm a Priya. Did you sit that recently? I mean, you can't. You have to get 205, 210 plus equivalent, and you have to be getting at least like 2/3 on the NBMEs before you sit. You can't get a 61% on NBME 30. Like 2 weeks out, you got to postpone a month, do QBank, and then I go back through all the NBME exams. You're looking at 2 months. And you think that's too much? If you were to say that's too much, really? I'd be like, don't take my fucking advice. I only know how to get you to pass, right? I know. But you got to do 2 months. If you take a fail on an NBME in the fight, like on any of the online NBMEs, especially leading up to your exam, you got to postpone an entire fucking month to do QBank. Student says, I don't want to do that. That's a bad idea. I don't want to do that. I don't want to take it. I don't want to postpone a month. And I say, okay, I agree with you. So my advice is fucking do well on the NBMEs. Then you don't have to postpone. I'm on your team. I'm on your side. You say, I want to sit in 2 weeks. I'm like, great, let's do it. Let's sit in 2 weeks. So get a fucking like 210, 212, 220 on the NBMEs equivalent. Don't get a 61% as you did. And then you can sit. HUD asks, what was your score in USMLE? I've talked about this, and it's on my website. I said 262 on step 1 when it was numerical, and only a 260 on step 2. But I've also said that I sat the exams, a decade ago. I sat step 1 11 years ago. So at the time, a 262, 260 would be like getting a 272, 270 today, because the averages were like 10 points lower. It's like, you can say it's a moot talking point, like it's a stupid talking point, but like, at the time they were good scores, and now they're okay, but scores have inflated now. It's like the dollar, right? Like the dollar, like I'm 36. I'm not joking right now. Like when I was like, I remember being in like fucking like middle school, and you could get like a pizza delivered with tip for like $10. I'm not joking right now. In New York, like there was there was a place you'd pay like $10, and they'd deliver the pizza to your house. It was like $9.99, and then it's like, here's your like $2 tip. Now you want to get a pizza, it's like what, like fucking like $20. Like, so scores inflate the same way, like, there's inflation with like fucking the dollar too. Reem, if I barely pass step 2, will I still have a chance to match? Absolutely. I mean, I've said you only need passing scores for IM, FM, PEDS, Obs Gyn, Psych. Giovanni. Hey, Mike, good to see you back to you, Giovanni. Giovanni de Verrazano. Sounds like a French explorer or something. I make that up. Hey, Mike, interest in internal medicine. 230 NVMe 7. Your paragraph's not really, you got to write that more simplified. I can't like dissect that right now. Div, give me that watch. I'll wear it and show this one. This one. I said this is a man's watch. This is not a female watch. This one. A watch says a lot about a dude. If it's like, if you have like a small fucking watch as a dude, that's a problem. As a dude, you don't get a small watch. Get a big watch. It's a man's watch, right? I've got a sick fucking black military G-Shock that just arrived as well. I think I want to start collecting some G-Shocks. I have 3 G-Shocks, but like like I want to get like some good like high-end G-Shocks. And I just ordered like a watch like case, so I can like actually store my watches better, like a big fucking watch case, which they're ludicrously fucking expensive. It's ridiculous. I'll spend a lot of money on a watch. I don't give a fuck, but I expect a watch case. Like if you were to go look up a watch case on Amazon, how much is that? How much do you expect to pay for that? You'd say like $40, $50 tops. Like what? They're all like fucking like $200, $300 for like a fucking, like, it's ridiculous for a fucking watch case. I'm like, literally. I spent like $200 on a case, for like a wooden case for my watches. I mean, you could say that's like nothing compared to the watches, but like you wouldn't think. It's like I just got this new computer chair, and it was like, this was also like $200. It's just like stupid shit that's like more expensive than you think it should be. Because the last computer chair I had, I paid like $40 for, and it like fell apart. I had like no back support on it. People ask me about Andrew Tate a lot, right? I've talked about Andrew Tate a lot. People ask me about him a lot. I mean, look, my thoughts on Andrew Tate is that even if you don't like him, he should never have been canceled. Like the concern I have is that in 2023, there's no freedom of speech anymore. Okay, that's the main concern. Is that if I voice opinions, for example, on like certain male female dynamics, or something, there's no freedom of speech. So that's a problem. That's where we're at culturally. I think once things hit the blockchain, I think once blockchain, we can secure like intellectual freedom, freedom of speech. I think freedom of speech will eventually make its way to the blockchain. And I think that cancellation won't be possible once these things reach the blockchain. I think that's going to be a huge, huge, huge fucking day for like uh, this century. That's going to be a huge fuck. I don't think we're even that far away. That's like the 20 end of this decade slash. I think it might be end of this decade slash the 2030s. I don't think it'll be like there used to be a time when like the government or like you know a government or a military or like a service like or a tech platform could like cancel you for something, and I think that that's going to end. I think like people will be able to secure their views on the blockchain. Like you could put out a video or something and it'll be secured on the blockchain, and it'll be amazing in terms of freedom of speech. But also there will be a lot of there's a reason why certain things are banned. Um, things that people could like that's self-explanatory. If you're like putting up like ISIS videos or like pedophilia stuff, like that stuff obviously has no place. But like I'm talking about just like views, like you have like views on something, and like you have strong views on like abortion or like something, and like you shouldn't be like threatened with cancellation. Like people don't have to like Andrew Tate, but like he has no business being canceled. Where do you practice, Doc? I said I do USMLE stuff. I don't fucking practice. Blueface, you went to school in Australia. Huh. Mustafa, that watch looks like a spaceship. Nice peacocking game. This watch is for me. It's literally for me. You know what I'm saying? This watch is fucking for me. As I said, it's a man's fucking watch. You're not gonna meet a chick with a watch like this. Like you're just not. You see that? I cut my arm on a door. I slammed into a door. I like turned quickly, and I like hit a knob. Do you regret not leaving clinical medicine sooner? Is that what you wrote before the chat moved? I think I think I left like right at the right time. I left after I graduated med school because it's only going to get harder. Like the later you leave, if medicine's not for you, it's only going to get harder. As your income grows, it's only harder to leave. If you're like a practicing doctor and you're making like good money, you think it's going to be hard, or sorry, you think it's going to be easy to just leave if it doesn't interest you? No. Especially as you not just as you get further in your career, but also as you develop family, you got more expenses, whether it's like a house, you're raising kids, whatever it fucking is. People, you take on a new perspective as far as like it's not just about doing what you're quote unquote passionate about. It's also like you're doing things to like survive and to maintain like lifestyle. That's what happens. People in their 20s don't have money, so it's very easy to like do what you're passionate about, quote unquote. But as you get older, I mean, like you start to make more money, and um, you know that's a long discussion. Okay, that's a long discussion. When I was in fourth year medicine, I was dating a little bit this like Filipina orthopedics nurse at the hospital. So I was on ward rounds, and like I guess like she noticed me or whatever, and so we were like dating a little bit. She wanted to hook up in the hospital. I was like, get the fuck away from me, because if that happened, right? Like if I agreed to that in the hospital and we got caught or something, get kicked out of med school easily, right? I said to her, I was like, get the fuck. I was like, get away from me. I told her, I was like, don't come anywhere near me, like while we're in hospital. Um, but why am I mentioning that? Because we were talking one day by like the Brisbane River, and so I would have been like I was like 28, 28, 29. She was like 40. She was attractive, really attractive, like fitness chick, but like, um, we were talking, and I remember telling her like I wasn't passionate about medicine, and that like I was graduating, but that I like didn't want to do medicine. That's what I was telling her. And she basically said to me, she's like, this notion of like being passionate, quote, like pursuing something you're passionate about is like a joke. It's extremely like not condescending, but it was. She's like, it's a very very like privileged mentality to even consider this notion of of pursuing something you're passionate about. She's like, I send half of my paycheck home to Indonesia to support my family. My family runs like a small business there, and they make like no money. Everything they do is about survival. Everything they do is just it's not about pursuing what they're passionate about. They work to survive, and it doesn't cross their mind a single day about doing what they're passionate about, quote unquote. And then here I was like thinking about like this very westernized modern mentality of like, we should pursue what we're passionate about. Like we should pursue art, or we should pursue music. Do it. Nothing wrong with that. Do what you fucking want to do. But that's a very like modern privileged mentality, right? There's a um, there's a reason why like certain cultures that are more survivalist, like, in India or China, or like they're harder on their kids. I lived in an Indian homestay for 6 months when I was in fourth year med, and like, the mom was super sweet, but she had a 10-year-old kid, and like she would literally like hit him, like when he was like doing his math problems and stuff. I could like hear that I was in fourth year med. I could like hear that through my door. And I was like, should I call like child protective services? You know? And I was chatting with one of my like Indian friends about it, and they're saying like, well, it comes from a place of love because it's a survivalist culture, and like that's their only way out. Like it's the most populous country, right? So it's like if they can't perform well, there's no way out for them. There's no way to like get out of the poverty. So like that comes from a place of like you got to do well to survive. Like, so it's different mentalities. So like my point is that I was graduating med school, and I was like, I'm not passionate, quote unquote, about like medicine, but as I said, this Indonesian nurse whom I was seeing a little bit, she was like, this notion of like pursuing something you're passionate about is like it's a privilege. That's a modern mentality. It's a privilege. And my family, not a day in their lives have they ever thought about pursuing something they're passionate about. They're just trying to survive. And that was a very interesting perspective to hear, because it was true. It was like, it's tough to have those perspectives, like, modern mentality. Like we're privileged if you grow up and you're in a stable household. It's like, to be able to pursue something you're interested in, quote unquote, that's a privilege. Just reading this last. Colio Von Julio 23 says, your dogmatism around gender roles perplexes me. Okay. Do you have anything else to add to that? Is there anything else to add? Or is that it? Anything else, Julio? I mean, yeah, I have views on like male female dynamics. Yeah, sure. Right. What perplexes you? And dogmatism, there's a negative connotation associated with that. It implies like an intransigence or an unwillingness to hear other perspectives. When have I ever said I'm not willing to hear other perspectives, or when did I ever articulate, anything of that in that regard? I just think that I'm more traditional with my views. But as I said, there's no freedom of speech anymore. There's things I want to talk about like more bluntly, but I don't trust the internet. I mean, it's just like it's a joke. Oh, that was a good question. VWD, is 38 millimeters too small? That's okay. I think 40 millimeters or greater is important for like if you're buying a dude. If you're buying a watch as a dude, 40 millimeters is what you want. It 40 to 41 is like a good size. Like the Royal Oaks, like you got to get the jumbo, the 4041, or like if you're getting like you know, there's like Rolexes that are like day just, uh, day date, and they're, you can get different models like 40, 35. If you're gonna, you don't want to get a 35. You want to get like a larger watch as a man. Also, G Shocks are dope. I just love mechanical watch. As I said, I just got this really fucking like army black fucking technical army G Shock. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. But I'm thinking about collecting G Shocks. There's some like expensive G Shocks I'm like looking into. You can get G Shocks for like $100, but there's like others that are like 300, 400. It's not about the price, but it's just to mention that like there's some, it's not thought of as like an expensive brand, but you can get like high end like G Shocks that are like really well built titanium fucking. I think most of them are built with titanium anyway, but you can get some solid fucking G Shocks, like camo G Shocks. G Shock's not like an attractive watch for a female though. You get like baby G. Baby G's okay. Monty, yeah, you can have watch collection in a drawer, just like in Doctor Strange movie. That would be cool. Now I got like a nice wooden watch case. Mia Kasim, yo, how old are you? Someone already asked this. I said I'm 36, 36 and a half. You did step one 11 years ago. I need a skincare routine, my sir. People ask me about my skin a lot, right? I said I use vitamin E oil. I use vitamin E oil on my face before bed every night. A lot of it. I've been doing that since I was 23. Because I lived in Australia through my 20s, and when I arrived in Australia before my 23rd birthday, I went to the beach. I got like burned the fuck up, burned the fuck up. Australia has super strong sun. Brisbane, where I was, is the number one place in the world for skin cancer. Not even northern Australia, like Brisbane, which is like the middle longitude. Brisbane south of the equator is similar to like Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton north of the equator. It's like Florida. And so, but the ozone layer is thinner there. I got burned the fuck up. And then I started like taking care of my skin when I was living in Australia. That's what happened, because it's like it's important there to take care of your skin. So I started like I obviously I went to the beach a lot and stuff, but I started using vitamin E oil on my face. And if I visit like if I visit like my family in the United States or something, and they you know like I would stay at like my sister's place or stay at my dad's place or something, and like I'm like, do you have olive oil? And I put like olive oil on my face before bed. I literally put oil on my fucking. And this is the other weird thought. If that's been like 13 years, so let's say 13 years something, and you sleep, let's say, if you sleep 8 hours, well, I sleep like 6 hours. 6 hours a night, 8 hours. So it's a quarter to a third of your life that you're sleeping, right? And if I've been using oil on my face for like 13 years, you're talking like 3-4 years, 3-4+ years of the past 13 years, I've had vitamin E oil on my face. Yeah. I don't give I don't like, I don't think about it. I don't analyze it in terms of other people, but like people point out my skin a lot. And so like, I mean, yes, if I encounter other people who are like 36 and a half or late 30s, like in my general age range, I tend to look younger, yes, than they do. But I don't overanalyze it. Von Willebrand disease says, I think you're the Andrew Tate of the medical community, at least according to Reddit, and that's a compliment. I don't think that's a compliment. You have to, I said that growing an influence, you have to be able to handle getting lynched. You know what I mean? I'm not big. I'm not disillusioned. Let there be no confusion. I'm not big. 16K plus on YouTube's not big. Okay. But people have influence, like big influence. You have to handle fucking criticism, and you have to handle hate, and you have to handle, as you grow in influence, you have to be able to handle people talking fucking shit with big fucking mouths where you can't respond. People who talk shit tend to not have influence. That's another thing to note. Because if you have influence, there's more on the line, right? What if I get on Reddit and I start talking big fucking shit? Don't I have more to lose? People who have actual influence, people who are, it's people who are nobodies that will talk big fucking shit because they have nothing to lose because no one knows who the fuck they are. You know, if you want to grow in influence, you have to handle people talking big. You have to handle criticism, handle hate. You got to handle attacks on your appearance a lot. That's fine. I said when I was younger, I had like insecurities about my appearance. I had a lot of negative voices, my upbringing and stuff. And, that translated into, decisions I made as an adult to enhance my appearance. And that's fine. But people will talk big fucking shit, and that's okay. You observe that it's human nature. And like, if you want to grow an influence, you have to handle that. That's what comes with it. You can live your life with no one talking shit to you. You can live out your life. You won't have to deal with anyone talking shit apart from maybe a friend here and there, and you can cut that friend off, or like maybe a family member and you don't talk to that family member. You can live out your life pretty easy going without people talking shit, but no one will know who you are. You can remain an anonymous. That's the counterbalance. Is if you're okay living out your life, and like some people don't need to develop influence or anything. You can live out your life where you have a very easygoing, low key life. You don't use social, you don't use the internet, and there's very few people who will criticize or talk shit. You don't have to have those as a daily influx. But I mean, the counter, alongside that, what coincides with that is that you don't have any influence. AP Sans, I just got a watch case on Amazon too, LMAO. They were like all 150, but I found a junky one for 20. I didn't want a shitty one. You know what I mean? I didn't want a shitty one, but it's like, and I wanted one that could hold at least 12 watches. Because I have three G-Shocks. I have four APs. I have a fifth AP coming. I have this one. But and I have I have a Tokyo Flash. Let's see. If everyone did what they were passionate about, no one would do hard jobs. We're passionate about having a certain lifestyle, although hospital life fills me with meaning. What I really love, NFL, LOL, AB Sons. You can do stuff that you're passionate about that's hard, quote unquote. Stuff that's something, quote unquote, that's hard is not related to passion. I think it's genuinely your interest level. That's what it is. It's genuinely your interest level in something. The notion of like pursuing a career that you're like passionate about, that's a very privileged mentality. It's a very privileged mentality. And so I don't need to go back into the whole discussion I already did, but that the perspective I got from the Indonesian ortho nurse that I was dating a little bit in my final year of med school was that, you know, she sends her paycheck home, half her paycheck home, and her family doesn't think about what they're passionate about whatsoever. They're just trying to survive. Most of the world's just trying to survive. Laughable. Mustafa, gotta love Japan for being safe. I'm reading some negative comments too, but this is what I was just talking about. You gotta handle people criticizing your appearance. That's what I'm saying, right? You gotta handle people criticizing your appearance. I mean, people criticize my appearance daily. That's okay, right? Casey Jones, right? I thought he was no. It's no. I mean, it's funny, because the thing is, Casey Jones. Um, I can easily just block you and erase all your. I can hide you from the channel. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, Casey Jones. I can just click on three little dots right now, and then it'll just delete all your fucking comments and hide you permanently, and I'll never hear from you again for the rest of my entire life, and that's cool. But I'm allowing your comments where you talk big fucking shit, right? Talk big fucking shit, Casey Jones, right? Mustafa got love for Japan being safe as fuck. Uh, Mofos here start shit all the time for no reason. That's funny. Not surprised you never felt the need to learn any martial arts. Well, I mean, I like the idea of learning martial arts, right? But I mean, you're in Turkey, and so it's definitely more like, yeah, survivalist there. People aren't like confrontational here. It's true. You've had people who are more confrontational. So yes, from a young age, you've evolved this mentality to like pursue martial arts. That's important to you. People in Japan, like, they're very polite, right? In the United States, you can just have your fucking like 13 guns or whatever. United States, you can be fucking beta and then have your 13 guns, and then it kind of ends there, doesn't it? Which is Dr. Mike, which is the best time to apply for ECFMG certification? Like, how many months before giving step one? Before step one? What do you mean before step one? You have to finish all this. I think you're probably asking, you mean to ask something else, Ishan. In order to apply for ECFMG certification, you have to finish all the steps. Step one, step two, OET. Then you have to have a medical degree. Yeah, I'm just gonna delete Casey Jones. That's what I'm gonna do. I just literally in 2 seconds just deleted everything. You fucking just hit everything, right? I allowed it. I allowed people to read it. They were there. That's fine. But I just deleted every fucking thing. And if he's still watching it, I just deleted everything. So for the rest of my entire life, never. I mean, that's what happens if you talk shit. Like, it's no problem. You have to be able to handle things, but like, you lose your ability to interact with a content creator forever. So you might have like a sentiment later. What's hilarious is, like, occasionally, not often, but occasionally, someone will like fucking message me out of the blue, and I'll see that there's a chat history from like 2 years ago or 3 years ago where like they were either rude or like something happened. And you try not to have an ego about it. Mira, good to see you, Mira. You're a good follower. You comment on a lot of my stuff. I appreciate you, Mira. Psy82. Do you think medical school hurts students' self-esteem? I find myself questioning my ability a lot since the med journey. A lot of anxiety I never had before. I mean, self-esteem, like, I don't see how that relates. Because if something's going to be like, if you're having a difficult time progressing through school, that could relate to like intellectual self-esteem, right? It's unusual to have med school be the first time someone's had difficulty progressing through, right? It's difficult to get into med school, even if it's like, not a classic pathway, or maybe countries that are easier to get in, etc. Programs that might be easier to get in, but still, it's unusual for like med school to be the first time a student's having difficulty progressing, but it happens. You know, some of these schools are money grabs. Um, but you got to just like, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. You got to just pick yourself up and be strong about things, right? That's what you got to do. You got to surround yourself with positive people as well. That's really important. It's about whom you surround yourself with. Cut out negative people and surround yourself with positive people. Sunny took UWSA 1, got a 254. Halfway through all the CMS forms, got above 22 out of 30 on all of them. Okay. Can I take a 3 to 4 day break before continuing? Yes, you can. Really burn out, exam July 19th. Yes, you can take a break. Nakia, LOL, you literally just said that G-Shocks are not for females. I guess I'm a little different. I said baby G is okay. Like I don't want, like, I wouldn't want to date a chick who's got like a fucking like massive fucking G-Shock like I would have. I mean, I've got like a big military fucking G-Shock I'll wear, like maybe the next live stream or something. I just got a black fucking military G-Shock. It's huge. It's good G-Shock. But I wouldn't want like a chick who's like wearing that. That would be a little bit unusual, right? If the dude's beta, then maybe he wants like a chick with a big watch. You know what I'm saying? I can make comments like that, and that like triggers people. People get triggered way too fucking easily. AP San, so true. The peanut gallery is filled with scary losers. I mean, Chuck, I don't need to discuss specifics of my finances. I talked about Bitcoin in the last live stream. I talked about Bitcoin. Zane, is pathology a competitive specialty in the US? I think it's like mid range. KG, what did KC Jones say? Doesn't matter what KC Jones, KG, doesn't matter what KC said. KC's gone. Who the fuck's KC? No fucking idea what KC is. No, I was just saying people talk big fucking, you know, you gotta, I don't need to go through I literally just did like a little monologue on that. People talk shit, you know, and you have to handle that. But he was a little like insolent. He was contemptuously impertinent, right? He was contemptuously impertinent, and you know, making repeated negative comments. So I just clicked on the 3 little dots next to his name and just blocked / removed him hid him from my channel forever. So I think when you do that, what happens is he can make comments, but he's the only one who can see them. Like if I block someone from my channel, they can continue making comments on my YouTube videos, but no one else can see them but that person. And I do that like maybe every day or every other day. There's people who write hate comments, and I just hide them instantly from my channel forever. And they'll continue commenting if they come back, but I'll never see them again for the rest of my life. And neither will anyone else. Manthan Patel, studying for step 1 is lonely. AP Sans, you got your first watch last month. Sitting next to my G-Shock, the size difference is stark. I've got 2 G-Shocks sitting on my desk right now. Got literally 2 fucking G-Shocks right here. This one's slightly smaller. This one's like bigger. This one, it's bigger, but like, you know, I've got a 3rd G-Shock. I said I just got a black military G-Shock, but I want to get like more. I was looking at the Frogman, like a pink Frogman or a blue cyan Frogman G-Shock, but I can't justify paying like $1,200 for a G-Shock. I feel like that's like, because it's not big enough for me. Like it's bigger. It's like, put it this way, you could pay maybe like $300 for like a really fucking excellent like top G-Shock that's like big G-Shock. If you're a guy and you want a big fucking watch, you can pay like $300, $400 maybe for like a really big good G-Shock. And then you can pay like $1,200 for like the biggest G-Shock that's maybe like 5% bigger, then that G-Shock that's like $300, I can't justify that. Like if it were like significantly bigger, maybe, but it's not. I'm not going to pay like an extra $900 for like a little like 2 millimeters of extra like width on a watch. Like I can't justify that. Because for me, I wouldn't be using the Frogman as like an actual fucking scuba diver. People who actually are like real divers, that would be a fucking amazing like gift and watch to have. I would just use it for like, just wear my fucking watch that I'm doing now. And it's like 2 millimeters for G, I don't know. Maybe eventually. I don't know. I don't, it's not like, Von Willebrand, are you a fan of Tarantino movies? I said, Pulp Fiction is one of my favorite movies. It's one of my top 3 movies. Pulp Fiction, Born Identity, Fifth Element. Vinay, do I like Indian traditional chicks? Have I ever dated an Indian? How different are they from other chicks? I have stories. I have stories. Do I need to go into that right now? Right. Um, right. I've issued a lot of stories. There's stories that aren't like appropriate for this chat. Right. Zane, you graduated in 2021 from Syria, and I'm planning to going to the residency in 2024. Is that going to make a major negative effect on getting into residency? Thank you for answering my. I think it's an advantage. Hold on. I think it's a disadvantage being 3 years out of med school. Okay, like obviously, if you graduate and then you apply like right after, that's better. I think it's an advantage, however, being from Syria. You say, how does that make sense? Well, people want diversity. People don't need like fucking like white American dudes like me in like their program. What they need is like someone from Ivory Coast or someone from Central African Republic or from like Congo or from like Azerbaijan or like, Laos, Cambodia. Like if you're from like a country that's like, you know, more underserved or third world, like I think that's an advantage. Um, you need that representation. Even if a program doesn't overtly embrace affirmative action, like even if they say we are equal, full equality for everybody, we don't take race into consideration like that, we just view everyone the same. Maybe not. Like I think that like when you clear the scores and the minimal scores and you go in for the interviews and they're trying to like sort out a diversity in a diverse program, it's good to have representation from different locations. And I think like if you're from Syria, that's an advantage. It's a good thing. If I'm applying to residency, yeah, the U.S. passport, but I think like as I said, they don't need like more white American dudes. Sonny, would you recommend taking step 3 before residency even starts? I've heard people for this. I've talked about this. I've said that only if you've been out of med school at least like 2 years should you consider it, because it shows recent competency. But for the majority, it doesn't matter. Most people aren't going to have it. The overwhelming majority, 99% of applicants aren't going to have a step 3, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to like worry about it. But as I said, if you've been out of med school for at least 2 to 3 years, you could take it to show recent competency. Talking for tots. Took step 1 yesterday. Found a lot of mechanism of action questions for different medications. A lot were very similar to the videos you posted, so I can thank you. So that I thank you. Thank you, Talking for Tots. I think I may have actually, because you have a very unusual like name, clearly, Talking for Tots. I think I clicked into your, not recently, but it was like a year ago maybe. I think I clicked into your channel, and you had some pretty cool videos on like, and if it's not your channel, then I have no idea what I'm fucking talking about, right? But I think you had like cool videos on like, you do like educational stuff for literally Talking for fucking Tots, right? You had a cool channel as far as I remember, right? Kanye, damn, Mike's still streaming? Question mark. I would ask more non-med questions, but as Mike says, this isn't a motorcycle chat. Are your Insta lives motorcycle chat acceptable? In my Instagram lives, I don't do fucking medical talk. People, I'll be like literally skateboarding on the fucking street at like 2 a.m. and like people are like, "Is my UWorld scores like are they okay?" Like I'm no like psychology. The platform's different. Like I'll answer med cues on YouTube. It's easy, you know. Not when I'm like skateboarding around at fucking night. Like, it's not like when I'm answering med cues. Sai, what made you start this journey teaching students? Probably because I could, right? I could. It just was like a natural progression from like you do well in the board exams and then you start tutoring for like part time. That's what happens. You start tutoring part time. Um, I don't know exactly like how it initiated though, like how I started teaching for my med school. That's what kind of happened. Like I took the USMLE and then I started doing tutoring for like I was teaching the Oshner kids, like the Louisiana, the Oshner students. I was doing like I did a tutorial for them at the Princess Alexandra. I did a tutorial at the Ipswich when it was still part of UQ. I had 2 tutorials that I did, each once a week. That's how I got my foot in the door with like USMLE teaching. That was fun. I liked that. Those were good days. Those were good days. Stories out of that would do. Stories there. Kanye, wish you could stream on the motorcycle channel so we could like, ask those cues. Oh man, Pulp Fiction is classic. You got good taste, Blueface. Have you ever met someone from Ivory Coast? I've had like people sub to my like content from Ivory Coast. You know, I've like probably added people from Ivory Coast to like the Telegram group, at least the old group. People from Africa, yeah. I mean, I get like subs from Africa, Ethiopia, Sudan. You know, like people, Egypt a lot. Egypt is like most represented from Africa, I'd say. There's a lot of people from Egypt. 20 area code or area code, country code. Youssef, thoughts on euthanasia? I don't have thoughts on that. I don't have thoughts on euthanasia. Literally no thoughts on that. I'll have a thought. I could have a thought about it, but I don't. AP Sans, nah, 1200 too much for G-Shock in my opinion, unless you got money to. I just don't. I don't justify dumb. Like you can have money, but it's still spending in dumb shit. Like just because you might be able to like afford like a meal that's $60, why would you? Like, I mean, you have to be able to like. Um, have you ever been to Africa? Come to South Africa. I would. I would go to South Africa. That'd be cool. There was like when I got to Australia when I was 22 and I turned 23, there was like a nurse that I like went on like a couple dates with. I was real fucking beta at the time. She was like super hot and she was like into me, but like we didn't hook up because I was like really fucking beta and like I was like I didn't know what I was doing. And that was like one of my like younger days regrets kind of thing. Um, but then I knew she was like going on like this big like trip to Africa. Like she was telling me about it. She was like, you know, she was a nurse, as I said. She was young. She was like 22. I was like 23. But she was like I knew she was going on like some trip to Africa. And then as I said, we like hung out a couple times. Like nothing happened. Like we didn't hook up because I was like the lame beta. And then it sort of ended there. And then it was maybe like a year and a half later. I don't know what the fuck happened. I was like on like Facebook and there was maybe like a friend of a friend. I saw some picture, like something happened. And I found out that she like died in Africa. I know that sounds like ridiculous. But she was like on like some road trip in Africa with like her housemate. She was on like a tour bus and like the wheel came off. It was in Namibia. It was like some freak fucking accident. And I was like, my jaw literally like dropped. I was like, no fucking way, dude. Um, I mean, I don't really know what to say. I haven't been to Africa, like, um, I would love to go to Africa. I mean, if I'm white in South Africa, wouldn't it be like, not reverse racism or something? 'Cause all the apartheid stuff, right? But I mean, I think there's like, isn't it higher risk if you're white in South Africa? You have to be careful. AP Sans, would you go skydiving? I've been skydiving. I went skydiving in New Zealand. I went bungee jumping in New Zealand as well. You say I personally have no desire. LOL. I don't trust wires holding. It was stupid. I would never. It was a really dumb move. I was 24 at the time. It was really really dumb. Skydiving wasn't quite as dumb. Bungee jumping was dumb. Bungee jumping wasn't worth it, and it was like over a canyon. It was over a massive canyon. Like if I had died, like it was just. I looking back, it was a very dumb move. Bungee jumping. It was a very dumb move. Like if I had a kid who's 24 and like he or she told me that like they're gonna go bungee jumping, I would pay them like 10 grand to. Like, I would say I'm gonna wire you like 10 grand right now to not do it. That's what I would do. I'd say I'm gonna wire you 10 grand, and then that's what I would do. So I don't want you doing it. I'll pay you 10 grand. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going with your friends. I'll pay you 10 grand. Don't do it. Have fun with your friends. Use the 10 grand for travel, shop, do whatever you want to do. Watch your friends. I'll pay you 10 grand. Don't do it. That's what I would do. And then they can go on the rest of their lives and be like, well, their story will be my dad paid me 10 grand to, not bungee jump. I never bungee jumped. And it's like, you never fucking know. Maybe something would happen. I just look back. It was like a stupid fucking decision that I did it. But skydiving, I mean, you're diving with like in tandem with the fucking instructor, and arguably that's safer, right? When someone else's life is like affixed to yours and they know what they're doing, supposedly, it's not just like, there's a backup chute. Like the odds are lower, right? I don't know the fucking statistics of like bungee versus like skydiving deaths, but like skydiving, I see skydiving is slightly less stupid compared to bungee jumping. And if you ever bungee jump, it should be like over like water or something. Not that like, still accidents happen. Talking for Tots. Yes, it was me. Thanks, Mike. We chatted a bit last year. Yeah. KG, wish you much success. Nakia Brooks, mine is yellow and it's not all that small. I think it's like it's the athlete and soldier in me that wanted to go. Your yellow G Shock. Yeah, as I said, I have a big yellow G Shock. Right, it's good G Shock. It's good. But I got like a black military G Shock. And there's like camo. There's like interesting camo G Shocks out there. Like not just like army cargo, not just like this fucking like army cargo stuff, but there's like actual like desert camo and like stone camo, like weird fucking like textured gray camo G Shocks. If you're a dude, it can just be, I'm like I might be into that as far as maybe collecting some like man watches. I like I've kind of gotten into watches, huh? But this is a fucking man watch. Like you're not gonna meet a female with this fucking watch. Like it's impossible. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna fucking happen. Like, no fucking female is gonna have this watch. Again, it's not gonna happen. Universe boss, which part of Africa do you want to visit? Um, I'd say the highest probability of me visiting anywhere in Africa would be like Egypt or something, but I don't. I mean, it's not safe, right? Most places, it's not safe. When you're like in your early 20s, that's kind of the time to do shit that's like the most unsafe. That gear is like there's no guardrails. Like you'll do a lot of unsafe shit. I used to do a lot of unsafe shit, you know, that way. Um, that you're like, I'm gonna go to like Central African Republic and like, skydive in the desert or like or jungle, right? I'm gonna bungee jump in the jungle and not get my not do malaria prophylaxis or something. I mean, like that type of shit you do when you're like 22. Nikia, if offered, would you come back to Oshner to give another one? To give another what? To give another G-Shock? Or do you mean tutorial? Right? The chance of me doing like an in-person USMLE like tutorial in Oshner, I could. I'd rather just like get wasted. Like I'd rather just like rather than getting up and teaching USMLE, I'd rather just like go out with people who are like at Oshner or something and like get wasted. Like I'd rather like eat like good food, like and then just get like wasted. Right? That's what I'd rather do. Rather than teach USMLE there. Don't I get enough of that already? Teaching USMLE. But it could be like a sentimental. I think that would be weird. I think teaching USMLE would be weird, like in person, to like a class now. That'd be weird, you know, because like real, like the internet has replaced like real life teaching that way. It's like there's no like who goes to lectures in person anymore unless you're forced to. It's only when your school is like, fuck you have to come here and use your little clicker to like get register attendance. That's the only time people actually like go to lecture, right? But USMLE tutorials, I mean, you can do all your shit online. Hence, you view my content. All my USMLE tutorials are online, aren't they? My MCQs, those are fucking tutorials, right? AP Sans, you bungee jumping is ridiculous. Exactly. And my dad would offer the same, laughing my ass off. I agree. Here's 10K and do anything but bungee jump. Well, I mean, because I went through it and I told you, like, it was a dumb fucking decision. Like, I guess it was cool. I remember bungee jumping. I remember, like, the feeling of, like, um, it's like you literally it's like a vortex type feeling. But, like, looking back, it was like a dumb move. Like, I would not do it now. I mean, I could, if it were a situation, it's like, not like when I say I wouldn't do it, it's not like I'm a wimp and I wouldn't do it. Like it's more just like logical fucking like stupidity. It's just like I see the value of my life as far greater than like this like 2 fucking second jump where it's like I'm relying on some fucking rope for like what reason, right? That's the calculation. It's not about like I'm afraid to do it in the sense that like the 0.001% or 0.0001% something goes wrong, God forbid, but like it's not really that calculation. It's more just a logical calculation of like when you have so much to when you're younger, you don't have that perspective. You know, you're willing to take risks like that. Youssef, do you like Rolex and Patek Philippe? I've looked at them, of course. Um, Bulgari as well. I've looked at like Bulgari. I was considering buying like a Bulgari. Yara, you became a member. Really fucking appreciate it. Thanks, Yara. It's the first super chat in this. Well, it's not even a super chat. It's just you became a member. That's cool, Yara. Um, I mean, yeah, like Rolex. Like my grandfather had a Rolex. He had a Submariner, I think. He had like the steel and gold Submariner. Patek Philippe, the Nautilus. Like I looked at it. It's smaller than the Royal Oak, the AP Royal Oak. It's a nice watch. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Patek Philippe. You know, something wrong with that. I think like once you get a few like luxury watches, then you start to think about like what you want for yourself, kind of thing. It's not just about the notion of having a luxury watch. It's about like what do you actually like. And as I said, G Shocks are like what I'm gravitating toward right now. Like I get this as a man watch. This isn't G Shock, but like you know, um, I think like big fucking like military like watches. I kind of like, and I do that for me. That's not to like attract chicks. You know what I'm saying? That's like for me. But that kind of like makes sense because it's like I don't know. I guess like my personality goes with that, right? Like, that's for me. Like I like the idea of like fucking like uh just like yeah. I guess I don't know what to say. Like I gravitate toward that, and I see like small watches in men. I see that as weakness. I don't. It's not like I view. It's not like I purposely give a fuck. It's not that. It's more just like if a friend, and I've had like a friend send me like a picture of some like watch he has where it's like a thin little like it's like as if he's like a cocktail, like you're at like a cocktail, like a cocktail hour with your tux and your little tiny like leather watch with gold circular dial. It's like it's I'm not into like small delicate watches like that. Did you do the new NVMe 31 yourself? Asked Ayed Ali. I have all things to ask. That's what you ask. Uh, in other words, did I sit in my fucking room in Japan 11 years post graduate, 11 years post doing step one? And did I just like for fun do NVMe 31? The answer is no. Have I had students do 31? And do they share questions with me? And have I looked at some of it? The answer is yes. KG says Egypt is safe. Probably safer than some other places in Africa, right? But I mean, like, I wouldn't call it safe. If we just look at Africa, that's it. Sure, maybe it's safe. It's safer than like, probably Nigeria, right? Boko Haram in like northeastern Nigeria or something, or Chad. Safer than like many places in Africa. Then you've got like that's like violence. Then you've got HIV, like AIDS rampant in like Swaziland, and you know, but it's yeah, I mean, maybe Egypt is most safe, but I wouldn't call it safe. I agree Egypt is, and then VWD says, I agree Egypt is safe, but I think his concern is the, why would I be concerned about, okay, so you wrote, but I think his concern is the videotaping. Apparently they get sketched out if you record in public and get caught by someone. I wouldn't record in public. That is zero. Like, I mean, I wouldn't do an IG live or something in Egypt because I wouldn't use like mobile data. I wouldn't use like, I'm not really the type of person to like arrive in some new fucking country and then like get like a fucking prepaid data. Like I don't do that. I just shut off my roaming when I'm overseas, and I only use Wi-Fi. So I would do like boring IG lives if anything. I'd be like at a cafe or my hotel if I'm in Egypt. It wouldn't be like I'm walking around the fucking pyramids using my IG live. I wouldn't be doing that. But I never thought about that. Egypt, I'd be thinking about like having my electronics stolen or something. Like I wouldn't want to bring my laptop. You know, my laptop's an upper end like enhanced laptop, or like my smartphone. I wouldn't want to bring that stuff. But when you're a content creator, what are you going to do? Not bring, what am I going to do? Not upload when I'm abroad? So that complicates things. I'd have to think about that. Shoaib Ashkar. Hello again, Dr. M. Yara, yeah, thanks for becoming a member. And I'll have to answer your question now, right? I appreciate it. I don't act like I'm not acting like it's a burden. I'm just saying, like, you ask a legit question about medicine when I normally wouldn't answer questions about medicine because I've been doing this for over 3 hours, but I have 1 month to study for step 2. What would you advise me to do? You're going to finish on the CMS forms. You should be doing NBME 6 through 8, then free 120, then 9 through 14. I want you to make sure you get through all that content, Yara. But I mean, that's not going to take you an entire month. So you should be doing CMS forms for maybe like clinical mastery series forms for like 2 weeks, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. But you got to fit in. You got to make sure you can fit in 6 through 8, free 120, then 9 through 14. Nakia Brooks, your name went from gray or from green to gray. So Nakia Brooks, maybe you're no longer a member of my channel. I'm just joking, Nakia Brooks. You left me lots of super chats before, so even if you're not a member of my channel, it's perfectly okay. I'm just joking with you. You've left me a lot of super chats, which are more expensive. The super chats you fucking left, you've left like $50 super chats. I remember that. So like if you, I'm just kidding around with you, but your name's not green anymore. Yusef says, would you consider an official invitation from med school to do some USMLE lectures? I said I would, but I'd have to be paid a lot of money. A school would have to pay me like $1 million a year to get me to teach for them for like a year or something, which wouldn't happen, right? It's not going to happen. So I wouldn't do it. Like literally, if a Caribbean school was like, we pay you like $800K to come to like our island and like teach for a year in person and lecture, and you have to do like the slides and all, I would say no to that. I would say no to that. It would have to be like it would have to be over $1 million. It would have to be $1 million. Right? Italy, I was just curious, how much would you get? Probably 260s. What are you asking right now? Mike Strongarm, good to see you back. Mike, everything you write and say is gold, in my opinion. It's better than UWorld. Thank you. I'm reading everything I can. Will you be making any more assessments or PDFs? Yeah, I will in time. I will. I mean, I'm not like in a rush. That's why I have phases, right? Like earlier this year, I like pumped out the cardiopulmonary gastro. Like there's phases. This summer, I kind of need like, it's like a macro version of like not of trying to avoid burnout. That's kind of what it is. Like the same way if you're doing like fucking boring UWorld for like day after day and you're just like, I need a day off a week or I need a day off. Like it's sort of like the PDF writing. Some of that shit is so fucking boring that like I need like literally 6 months off. But then I can go at it hard for like 2 months maybe. And that's when I can produce like some good content, like 2 months straight, maybe. But I need like 6 months off. If I gave a fuck, I could obviously, right? All the time I do these live streams recently, why not sit in my fucking room overnight and do fucking like PDFs and micro cards and all this shit? No fucking interest. Yara, so you think I should just skip UWorld and you're so fucking lucky you just got a membership to my channel. Like otherwise I would literally not address these questions whatsoever. It's like laughable. Yara. Are you Yara Yara? I feel like you were a Yara. If they're like, I don't know how popular of a name that is, but I remember Yara Yara as like whether I was on WhatsApp or somewhere. But you may have left the WhatsApp group like ages back because I don't add people to the WhatsApp group anymore. That content or that group I'm just letting dwindle. I don't add people to that group anymore. Some people ask to be in the group, but so you think I should just skip UWorld and do the CMS and NBMEs and free 120 as you said? If you're a month out, you have no time for UWorld right now. Water Valend says, Ethics in step 2 is really annoying. What's your advice? I have a communication ethics PDF that's fucking amazing. Do that. Guys, give the video a like. I've been doing this for over 3 hours and like there's only 65 likes here. That's not that much, right? There's only 40 of you here, so I don't know. Maybe it wasn't a good live stream, right? Stigmata, do you give a fuck about mobility and flexibility when you work out? Not really. I'm not into like the whole like stretching yoga nonsense. I don't do like unhealthy. I make sure like range of motion is healthy, right? But like I'm not on the mats for fucking like 20 minutes stretching or rolling or anything. I don't do that stuff. Jay Moore, can I come to Japan with a sesame allergy and 0 language skills, or will I die? Sesame isn't like a lot of ramen. You can get by with 0 language skills. You know, gaijin do that, foreigners do that. To live here, you obviously need the language. For like just travel, you don't need the language. And it's fun if you don't know the language because you're in like a cloud. That's how you feel when you get here. Maria, good to see you, Maria. I got a 196 on my UWorld self-assessment, and you had told me 210 or postpone, and now I am crumbling. It was so hard. Well, I mean, this is also why I've harped on the fact that I don't like people sitting UWSAs because they're not the real NBME. They're not the real USMLE. But unfortunately, you know, that it's still a data point that we can't ignore. I don't like that, right? I don't like that. You know, but granted, if someone has a poor performance on the UWorld self-assessment, I have to look at their NBMEs. How are their NBMEs? And if it's a dubious scenario where like, you know, you're really in crunch time and now we're uncertain, now we're vacillating because what are we going to do? Are we going to just YOLO? Are we going to go for it when we had a poor performance on UWSA, but our NBMEs weren't bad? What are we going to do? That's when we could potentially have you do like NBME 19 or NBME 18. I don't like the 196. I don't like that. Okay, I don't like that. And I err on the side of caution in terms of, yeah, I don't like that. You could maybe sit NBME 19 offline. That's what you could do. Stigmata, I think it's very beta anyways. What are you talking about, Stigmata? I don't even remember what we were talking about. Oh, mobility and flexibility. Well, you knew I was going to say that, right? Like I stopped short of saying that. Some people get real fucking salty when I say like everything's beta. But like I've articulated that like a lot. Like I've said like calisthenics, like for a dude to do calisthenics, that's fucking beta. Right? There's a lot of things like as a guy, there's certain things you got to know to like you got to lift, you know, not do fucking calisthenics, right? It's like drink beer, don't like have like your fruity cocktail. Get a big fucking watch. Don't get like this little dinky fucking like cocktail hour, tiny little circular gold rimmed watch with like a black leather bracelet. Okay, there's like certain things that like, right? Gul Gutai, hey Mike, nice eyebrows. Right? And then you can balance it with you can balance all that fucking quote unquote manly shit I just said with like also, you know, do your fucking eyebrows. But I mean it's like I don't know what to fucking tell you. It's like it's not weird in Asia. I'm not a feminine fucking dude, but like Japanese guys, like they're like real fucking effeminate. You know, they wear like blush. They're like real feminine. You know? Yusef, is Tokyo expensive for a week of tourism? Depends where you go. I mean, there's expensive areas like Ginza. There's other areas that are way more fun, like Shinokubo. Shinokubo is the Korean area, actually. Shinjuku, you can go there. I mean, like things are only expensive if you make them expensive. Like I tell people I live in Japan, and they're like, "Oh my god, that's so expensive." I'm like, no, it's not. It's not expensive. Hey, Mira. Hey, Mike. I did all your cardio PDF, and I'm still getting questions on murmurs wrong in the QBank, specifically when I have to listen to the sound. Do my cardio PDF again. Right? Because what would happen is I would sit with you, and we would start talking. I would ask you if I'm doing Skype with you. I'd ask you a bunch of different murmurs and say, like, what are they supposed to sound like? And you wouldn't know. Right? I'd be like, what does AR sound like? What does MVP sound like? What does MS, mitral stenosis sound like? What are these all supposed to sound like verbally? What are they supposed to sound like? Because if you know what they sound like verbally, then you can sort of extrapolate to what you're supposed to listen for. You know what I mean? If you get like, for example, I had a question on my, I shouldn't talk about, it's like, oh, wow, big deal. An example of a question that could show up, hypothetically, is you get like Marfan syndrome, and you have a stethoscope question. You're freaking out because you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to look for. I don't know what I'm going to hear. I'm terrible at listening to heart sounds, but it's Marfan syndrome, right? So you say, well, I could get mitral valve prolapse. I could get aortic regurg if there's a dissection, but what does mitral valve prolapse sound like? And you know that it's supposed to be a mid-systolic click, so you move the stethoscope to. So if you know verbally what it sounds like, you're like, I know mid-systolic click is what I'd look for, but I don't know how to listen for that. You move the stethoscope to the mitral location, and then you listen really hard, and then you're like, well, I think I hear a mid-systolic click there, and that's how you answer the question. So if you know verbally what you're supposed to listen for, someone has ripping chest pain, and they do cocaine, that's going to be aortic dissection. And the highest yield cause of aortic regurg on USMLE is aortic dissection that retrograde propagates to the aortic root. So if that's the vignette, and it's with hypertension, cocaine use, and ripping chest pain, and you're supposed to listen for an early diastolic decrescendo murmur. It's loudest after S2, holo diastolic decrescendo murmur, early diastolic murmur, right? Bounding pulses. Like if you know what like the buzzy things are for aortic regurg, but you in your mind, you're like, I don't know how to listen for that. But you just move it to the, second intercostal space, right sternal border, and you listen for it, and you could hear it, and you're like, okay, it's aortic regurg. Blueface, you're part Japanese? Question mark, question mark. I've said I am. Nakia, same person, other account, I guess. Blueface, same person, other account, I guess. That's funny. That's funny. So you've messaged from your member account, also your non-member account. That's funny, Nakia. Well, I appreciate it. Guys, give the video a like if you're new to the live stream. Blueface, do you think you will leave Japan? I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. Youssef, I believe smartwatches are also beta. Well, going off because people asked me about Andrew Tate, right? Like I was, he like literally a friend literally sent me a fucking video like I'm not joking. I had a friend send me a video 2 days ago of like Andrew Tate talking about how smartwatches, like don't trust people with smartwatches. That was literally what he said. He was like, his contention. I mean, I think he jokes, right? People take everything he says so fucking seriously. Like he's, it's humor at some level, but like he was joking pretty much, sounding serious and angry. But it's a joke. I think he's just it's parody, but people get so fucking triggered. But I think like he was just saying that a smartwatch, like people act like it's so necessary, that it's so important, that like they're like, I'm looking at my fucking email on the smartwatch, or this is my notification on the smartwatch. People act like they need that when it could just take them 2 fucking seconds to rip out their phone and check their email, and it's much clearer, much larger, much more efficient for them to like actually read and scroll and do what they need to do on their smartphone. That takes 2 seconds, half a second to pull out, and that it's essentially it's feigned utility. People pretend it's feigned. People who buy a smartwatch feign its importance. because they just want this. They like the idea of having a smartwatch, but it's actually not more useful. And he was like making fun of that. And also like the notion of like having your heart rate or your number of steps, which your phone can track. I mean, to some degree, your number of steps, but like those things as if they're important. People act like they're important all of a sudden. That you go like millions of years where no one's tracking their fucking heart rate or their number of steps, but now all of a sudden people have to have their number of steps and heart rate tracked using their watch, or like that's important all of a sudden. It's also like a facade, but people feel like people get a sense of importance out of having a smartwatch. So he was playing into that, like he was making fun of that. And a friend literally sent me a video of that like 2 days ago. My response was like, he needs to like focus on other things. But I think that's kind of his content is like, people get entertainment out of stuff like that. He should never have been canceled. I've said canceling is not a good thing. It's Korean language close to Japanese, says Amen. Yeah, it's very similar. People who are Japanese or Korean can learn the other one really quickly. It's like people who speak English can learn Spanish quicker than Japanese, right? Or if you speak Spanish, you can learn English quicker. Or like if you know English, you can learn German really quickly compared to Korean, right? Because the grammar, Japanese and Korean grammar are very similar, apparently. Yo, this comment is in reference to your advice against one-upping while doing rotations. Should one say they don't know the answer if they are asked about a question the previous person got right? No, you don't have to do that. You don't have to pretend like you don't know. I've said you just don't. You have to be very careful with how you present your knowledge. You have to like not be stentorian about things, not be loud, like proclaiming and expounding your knowledge. You don't want to do that. You want to very quietly and discreetly insert your answer, but also acknowledging how the other person, trying to roll off the other person as though like the person contributed to your answer. I said this. So they ask the intern doesn't know. They ask you, they're like, well, what do you think? Do you know? And you're like, instead of one-upping the intern, making the intern look stupid, now the intern doesn't like you. And also, the attending might make note that you went up to the intern as well. And they'd be like, wow, he actually didn't he could have done that much more politely. Because they're not going to be impressed with what you know. They're going to be impressed with how you communicate. So you respond and you say like, the intern, you say, John made a good point about this, about like this chemotherapeutic regimen. He made a good point about that. Going off of what he said, we were also thinking this could be the case. We, as in you, with your fucking answer, but you're making it about we. So you're like, John made a good point about this. Going off of what he said, we were thinking like this could be a possibility as well. So that's possible. That's what you can say something like that. And like, you're not going to like use a loud voice. You're not going to be stentorian about it. Right. I talked about in one of my previous live streams how literally like yesterday I talked about it. I said I was put on the spot in like a very like annoying way where I was forced to like one up a doctor, and it pissed me off. Like they literally, it was I talked about it yesterday. I said like in Dequervain, your uptake is always low. Your radioiodine uptake is always low, even when you're hyperthyroid. The same way for postpartum thyroiditis or for drug-induced lithium or amiodarone-induced thyroiditis. Like even if you're hyperthyroid, you have low uptake. That contrasts with Graves, for instance, or toxic multinodular goiter or toxic adenoma, where you have increased uptake when you're hyper. And the endocrinologist, the attending, asked the doctor. He was like 5 years out of med school. He was young, but he was like 5 years out of med school. And like she asked him, she's like, this patient has like Dequervain, whatever. And we were going to look at the uptake scan. That's what it was going to be, something like that. She's like, what do you expect for the uptake scan? And this guy who has like thyroid and Dequervain, what do you think? She's like, hot nodule, cold nodule, like hot up generalized uptake, cold generalized. She's like, what do you think like in general? And he was like, increased uptake. She's like, Michael, what do you think? What are we going to see on the uptake scan? I was like, it's decreased uptake kind of thing. was like, it's decreased uptake. And then it's fucking decreased uptake. And then it makes him look fucking stupid. And like that pissed me off because there was like no wiggle room. It was just like, do you think it's black or white? Which one is it? And it was like that pissed me off. And then like I felt like he didn't like me after that. Like you have to be careful. You have to be like but I toward the end of med school, I was very careful. I was very careful toward the end of med school. I mean, I can fill in all these stories and stuff, I can fill in all these stories. But I was like 29. I was graduating med school, and I had I was all like decorated for my USMLE stuff. I'd already worked for FA for 2 years. Like I was like, it was my second to last rotation of med school, and like I was on a team where like we didn't have an intern. We had a junior house officer who was 2 years out of med school, and she was super fucking young. She was like 22. She was a doctor, and 2 years out of med school, she was 22. And she was from like Malaysia or something. And there were like quite a few times when like she didn't know something and like I did, and like I just kept my mouth shut. I didn't say like I don't know, but I like kept my mouth shut. That's like what you got to do. You got to sometimes just shut the fuck up. But I'd be asked stuff. I didn't say like I don't know, but I would like not insert myself. Like if there was like a discussion and like she didn't know something, I didn't insert myself. That's how people don't like you, is if you like you never want to one up anybody. K Mani says, why don't you practice? Shalvi, good to see you. K Mani, why don't you practice anymore? I didn't practice. I said I just graduated med school and moved to Japan. I do USMLE stuff. Storyteller, what's the process to become an MD in Japan for a foreign grad? Curious. You have to be deeply fucking fluent in Japanese if you wanted to be here as a doctor. Deeply fluent. Japan's a very, very rigid, difficult system. Like even if you are deeply fluent, like let's say you're very, very smart and you're able to learn Japanese really, really well, okay? At the level to like be a practicing doctor here, just knowing like the proprieties and like how to interact and stuff, it's like it's a completely fucking different like. And I've seen like I've been in hospital environments here, like clinics and stuff, and like you see all the Japanese medical stuff. It's really fucking like it's difficult. Mike, do you offer a service for people to match after doing steps? No, I don't. That's not what I do. I do USMLE stuff. Joya Tirmaya, Jane, actually a legit question. Is there like a famous person or TV character that inspired your fashion? The answer is no to that. I'm not like, I don't like think about that. I don't think about that. Like I literally just do me. Like I don't fucking, no. It's weird, right? Because like I might do stuff like cater to like fashion or like certain things people might perceive it that way, or accessorize or do my fucking eyebrows or whatever, and people might think I am like I care or I'm high maintenance. I'm really not. I'm like a pretty like I'm very much a dude in the sense that like I just don't like I don't really care. Like I really don't. It's sort of just like habitual. It's like, for example, if you go to the gym like 5 days a week or 6 days a week, this is a good analogy. Someone who doesn't go to the gym might say, wow, that's really good. You're like dedicated. But because you've been doing that, like that's your habit, that's your routine, like you don't see that as a big deal. Like I go to the gym like 5, 6 days a week. I see that as like baseline. I see that as normal. That's not like a big deal to me. I don't think about it. I just do it. So it's like that. It's like I don't focus or think about like fucking fashion and shit. I don't do that. Do I like suits? I don't. I have suits. I have a lot of suits, but I don't like them. Chanel live stream still going strong. Excellent. Well, I mean, yeah, I saw your comment like way back when you said you were just dipping in. I appreciate that. And I was like, at the time I said like, oh, you're not here, you wouldn't be here anymore, but like I acknowledged your comment. Guys, if you're in the live stream, give it a like. The fifth year should be confident enough to handle being wrong, or maybe, and uh, the fifth year out of med school should be confident enough to handle being wrong, or maybe that endocrine attending was a douche. Um, no, that's, you could say that. That's one perspective, AB Sans. It's understandable. It's understandable. But I mean, like, of course, people have to handle being wrong. But it's like, it still doesn't, like, you don't want that. You don't want to be like a fifth year out of med school and you guess something wrong. The med student guesses it right. Like, imagine something really fucking trivial and stupid. Like, I don't know what to tell. Like, imagine like you're a fucking doctor, and like a doctor above you, like an attending, asks like about an X-ray or something. Like, do you see anything here? And you're like, not really. You're like, maybe. I don't know, right? Because radiology is hard. And then they're like, what do you see? The med student's like, oh, there's like a pneumonia fucking there. And there's these streaks here. And it's like, yeah, there's a pneumonia there. And then you're just like, it's not a good fucking situation, right? Wouldn't that be like a shitty situation? Wouldn't it? That's kind of like what it was. It's not about like not being able to handle being wrong, or like handle, like, it's not like, you have to be very fucking careful. Like the med student in that situation, if he's like a fucking, he knows radiology, she knows radiology, you got to be, and you got to be very fucking careful. You got to be like, well, as like John said, the doctor who didn't know, as John said, it's hard to, it might be hard to see exactly what's going on here. We were thinking maybe there could be like some streaks there, that could be seen in like pneumonia, but we're not entirely sure. You can like articulate, but you can articulate things more softly like that. You have to be careful. My favorite YouTube channels. Um, I follow like Gareth Soloway for crypto stuff. Gareth Soloway, Benjamin Cowan. Um, I don't like. There's no. It's not like I. There's some political channels I follow as well. I watch some for political stuff like Ben Shapiro, Vaush, uh, Hassan Piker sometimes. There's like, Brian Tyler Cohen and David Pakman. But I've moved to the right. You know what I mean? I've moved to the right. Um, and I watch some sports. It's like, with all that like Titanic and Titan submersible stuff that's on the internet, right? Like all that stuff that happened. Because I was watching like a lot of videos on that, and now the YouTube algorithm, like, it's showing me like all these videos, like what happens to a human body in an implosion. And then I was like, what happens? And I was like literally watching that like 24 hours ago, right? I was literally watching like you know, um, some like digitally enhanced like video on like an implosion. So it's just like, there's some stupid things I watch, but there's escapism. You gotta have escapism. Like, I don't need like medicine all the fucking time, right? Cool. I said I'm 36. I said in January. I said my birthday's in January. I'm 36. Are Japanese way more healthier than Westerners? I've never seen obese Japanese. They're like, unfortunately, Japan is like, they're opening like, there's like too many McDonald's and Burger Kings and KFC. Like, they're opening that stuff here. It's like ruining. Why did you delete your comment? Cool. Are we shy? Is that are we shy? Um, like there was like a bakery, like a nice little Japanese bakery, and then like in one of the main stations here, and then they closed. And then it was like replaced with the Burger King. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And then there was like another McDonald's I saw. There's like two McDonald's, a Burger King, and a KFC, like all next to each other at like one of the main stations here. and then there's like another smaller station where there's like a KFC and a McDonald's next to each other. It's like catastrophic. Like that stuff's catastrophic. It's a disease. It's like, get out of here with your fucking McDonald's. And you're like, it's not good for people. Guys, it's been 3.5 hours. I gotta fucking eat. That's what I'm gonna do. I gotta eat. I'm really fucking hungry. I'm gonna go to a Kisa 10. I'm gonna get like 6 eggs. Get some toast, milk. Come back probably with a protein shake. I need to eat. I'm really fucking hungry. It's 6:56 a.m. here Thursday. That's what I do. All right. Appreciate you guys. Obviously, I'll do more live streams, right? That's what I do. You haven't eaten since you said your stomach. What do you think I did, Chanel? You think I got up in the middle of my live stream and got food? Is that what you think I did? I haven't eaten. I haven't taken a piss or anything. All right. See you guys later.